Good morning. The Prime Minister is set to recognise a Palestinian state.
Yes, the announcement is expected later today, after the government made a promise to do just that unless Israel met certain conditions.
Well, critics are hitting out, including Nigel Farage, who believes the Palestinian state can't be separated from Hamas.
Royal revelations. The Duchess of York is facing fresh scrutiny after leaked emails have revealed that she privately described Jeffrey Epstein as her steadfast, generous and supreme friend.
RAF Typhoon jets join the NATO air defence mission following Russian incursions into European airspace.
Thousands will gather in Arizona today for Charlie Kirk's memorial, with President Trump, Vice President Vance and top US officials set to be in attendance.
King Charles and it's a lovely video we'll show you, meeting the world's oldest person.
Well, it's tango time. I don't know if that is a tango, actually, but it's a dance anyway, as stars and would-be stars hit the dance floor for the latest series of Strictly Come Dancing. We'll tell you all about what the first night was like later this morning.
A very good morning. Manchester United have lift-off after beating Chelsea in torrential rain at Old Trafford. Elsewhere in the Premier League, pressure is building on West Ham manager Graham Potter, and at the World Athletics Championships, Team GB's Katarina Johnson-Thompson shares bronze in the heptathlon.
Were you kept awake by the wind and the rain last night? Well, dry weather is on the way. I'll have all the details coming up.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
I keep seeing in all the papers, I noticed it yesterday, all these new spitting image puppets.
Are they doing another series?
Well, they seem to, because there's one of Angela Rayner this morning. This is in the... What paper is this? This is The Sun. Yeah. And there's an Angela Rayner spitting image puppet. Are they bringing it back? I don't know. I've never actually read the story.
They keep saying they're going to bring it back. I'm not sure they actually do.
Well, no, I think they have seen... It has been on. It was on BritBox. And so it's accessible online. But you know what? When they bring these shows back, no matter what it is, whether it's Crossroads or any of these things, it's never quite the same second time round.
Do something new.
I think timing is everything. I mean, on a Sunday night, Spitting Image, when I was a kid, it was, if I was allowed to watch it, it was compulsive viewing.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
and the best thing about it was that they used to react so quickly to news that had happened literally 24 hours before.
That's the point. I think, everybody thinks it was all about the puppets, so of course they were mega. But it was the script that was good too.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was proper comedy writing. But if you look at some of the names
there are some sketches you never forget. Margaret Thatcher and her cabinet, And,
John Major and the Peas.
That's John Major and the Peas, yes, that's right. But, the waiter is serving the cabinet lunch at the cabinet table. And he's going around and he says to Margaret Thatcher, what would you like, madam? She said, no. And he says, and the vegetables? And she says, yes, they'll have what I have. It's just little moments like that. The script was particularly good.
Did you have a puppet, Anne?
Sorry?
Did you have a puppet?
Yes, I'm afraid I did.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
I think I remember.
Look that up.
Oh, it's probably online.
It was a very, very
it's
clever
never
show.
complimentary, put it that way.
Luck and Floor, wasn't it? They were the two.
Yeah, Luck and Floor, that's right. Well done. Yeah.
Oh, you've got a weird brain.
I know, I have.
Who forgets anything? It's scary.
There's just masses of trivia in there.
No, it's just nonsense.
Are you any good at Mastermind when you watch it?
Never done it, but I've been called it before.
Yeah.
He's modest with it too.
No, I rejected any such comparison.
It's different when you're actually sitting in the chair, though, isn't it? Because David Lammy is famous for thinking that the question was, who was Henry VIII's son? And he said Henry the Seventh.
Oh God, did he?
Yeah. He won't live that one down, I don't think.
No, I'd never want to do anything. I had a friend, Gillian, who did that, and I said, how did you do? She said, well, I came fourth out of four.
Yeah.
But then
I didn't do very well
Then
on
she
it
said
either.
because they didn't ask the right question.
No, they don't. So that's the trouble. They warm you up with a couple of easy ones. You think, I'm doing quite well.
I'd never do it.
And then the minute you think you're doing quite well, in come the really nasty questions.
Oh, no, it's stuff of nightmares doing something like that.
I was tested on radio once about 10 years ago, football results going back to 1986.
You'd be good at that,
I bet you are
I did it. I mean, but it was sprung on me. Because I found out that I had this sort of
weird brain.
kind of thing. Yeah, and I got them all right. And people were messaging the show thinking, is this guy weird?
But there's
Yes, is the answer to that, Aidan,
But there's something about sports journalists who they can retain incredible info about, who scored what goal for Arsenal in 1962.
Yeah, but you won't remember what his own name is when he's 70.
Exactly.
No,
Common sense.
I'm getting that way already, don't we?
Right, anyway, look, we better crack on, because Keir Starmer is, this afternoon, preparing to officially recognise the state of Palestine.
Questions have been raised over why the Prime Minister waited until after President Trump's state visit to make the announcement.
Meanwhile, Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch has accused the government of rewarding terror with the move.
Of course, I don't think it's that weird that he waited until after Trump had gone back.
No.
I don't think people would be wondering why. I think they'll just draw their own conclusions pretty fast. Joining us now, political commentator Peter Barnes. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, this was never... Even though President Trump knew that that was in Keir Starmer's mind, and actually alluded to it very briefly,
obviously, yes.
It was pretty clear that Keir Starmer was going to wait.
Yeah, I have to admit, that was probably the smartest thing out of everything that we've seen out of Downing Street when it comes to this, because, let's be honest, a proscribed terrorist organisation, a genocidal cult, has just been given the gift by the British government. They even called it one of the fruits of October 7th, a massacre that killed 1,100 people, including 6 British citizens. That is what the British government is giving to these people.
Well, except what the Prime Minister says is, as part of us recognising this, we acknowledge that Hamas must play no part in the running of Gaza.
That's that's the equivalent of a strongly worded letter.
Yeah, I know,
if we're being brutally honest in diplomatic terms. We should wipe Hamas off the face of the earth. I do not understand why we have to keep capitulating to terrorists. And this is what this government is doing. And I want to be very clear. Keir Starmer's not doing this. The backbenchers of the Labour Party are doing this. Keir Starmer is not in control anymore. There's more fractures in that party right now, and it makes the Tories look like they all like happy families, even on a good day. I mean, it is absolutely extraordinary. We are seeing the disintegration and the collapse of Labour from within because, in my opinion, Keir Starmer is not leading on anything. So it is allowing the factions to start rising up and start taking advantage. Whilst we must remember that this was actually announced in the manifesto at the last general election, it was one of those kind of red meat policies. It's not really supposed to be done. It's more like just to rally the base.
Well, except with all of this, I mean, what they would argue is that there is a real need to try to do something concrete to stop what is going on in Gaza at the moment. And they will say, obviously, that they're against Hamas, that they abhor what happened on October the 7th, but they equally abhor what is going on now in Gaza.
Yeah, but I'm one of those people, I look at actions, I don't look at words, and the actions are capitulation and appeasement. That is what it is. You can say that you abhor something and you can hate all you like, but it is what you do, and what the British government is doing in the British people's name is recognising and gifting this to a group that is a terrorist organisation. They are a prescribed terror organisation here, and we're giving them what they want. And then to kind of take some kind of victory lap of thinking of how morally superior they are. I'm sorry, I find today to be a repugnant and a dark day for Britain.
Except that when you look at the pictures we're showing now of a totally destroyed Gaza, I mean, goodness only knows how anyone is still living in that. And the front page of The Observer, again, they've gone for their magazine-style format, where showing a terrible devastation, how on earth people can be living there. They can't all be Hamas, or are
no,
they?
100%. The reason that Palestine
the
is in
innocent deserve something.
And the innocent deserve the West to get involved a long time ago and actually get involved. And what we've done is played around the peripheries and not really done anything and pretended that we have done. The reason that, downtown Gaza looks like that is because of Hamas. They put their structures inside people's homes, in hospitals and in schools. That is what they did. That is these people that the government, again, is giving everything they want.
Yeah, it's one of those very difficult situations, isn't it? And because we've heard a number of people come out recently and say, Israel has a right to survive. It has a right to protect itself. What happened on October the 7th was utterly horrific. But it's at what point does the response become inconsistent with what happened to them?
It's a very good question, but I would say, if you look at it, the world has suddenly turned to Israel, the victim here,
into the villain. Yeah.
Into the villain. And what we're actually seeing is Israel saying, we don't care what you think anymore. They are sick to death of being the bad guys in everybody's story, because there are massacres around the world. Nobody seems to care about those as much as they do about this one. And there is a reason for that. It is because Israel is the only Jewish state. There is a stench of anti-Semitism around all of this.
Is it also, though, the way we perceive it, to do with the fact that what we see in Gaza now is very, very visual? Very few of us have ever seen the visuals from October the 7th. In fact, it was very interesting when President Trump was asked a question about this at the press conference at Chequers, and he replied back and said, have you seen what happened? Do you remember what happened on October the 7th? And he said, I've seen the video. And once you've seen the video, suddenly this becomes understandable.
Yeah.
And he has a point, doesn't he?
Oh, without a doubt. I have to admit, the number of journalists were also given access to this, and every single one of them, with any kind of moral fibre anyway, have come out. They look white when they'd seen it, just the horrific nature of what we saw. Because we have to remember, this was at a music festival for the celebration of peace, of people coming together, and they deliberately targeted it. They went after kids at a music festival. They were there just because they wanted to have a good time. That is these people, and the government is giving them what they want.
And they still have hostages.
And they still have hostages. There's still 48 there. 251 were taken.
So how do you reconcile the two? How do you ever get to a point where there may be a way forward?
Well, unfortunately, you have to understand that the concept of a never-ending war might just be a thing. If we really stand for principles of liberalism, of democracy, of freedom, and of human rights, we actually get in the fight and we defend them, because they're under attack. These people are under attack by a genocidal terrorist organisation, and we are giving them what they want. This is a horrific day for
But
Britain.
we're not giving it them, aren't we? I mean, Keir Starmer is just saying it. But we'll have
what impact does it have?
Yeah, but what it is for other countries, it's about diplomatic leverage. But this is actually more, what I think is more craven, actually, is actually the Labour Party trying to reconcile its differences. It's not really to do with Israel and Palestine. What Starmer's doing is because the backbenchers are forcing him to it, because he's not in control. And that's what I think makes this 10 times worse, actually, than what France is doing or what Canada's doing. They're doing it because they want to put pressure on Israel. Starmer's doing it because, well, he's being told to.
Just very briefly, Peter, because we are out of time. I mean, what I struggle with on this, and I know you're making your point, right? But we get very black and white arguments on either side, and actually, it's not black and white, is it?
I think there is. I think one is a terrorist and one isn't. One is a democratic state. One is the only democracy surrounded by...
But it doesn't mean it's necessarily behaving in exactly the right way, even if we can understand why it began.
But it is a country at consistent attack. It is it's been at war. It is surrounded by its enemies, and the charter of many countries around it want it eradicated. Not defeated, eradicated. That's what from the river to the sea means.
All right, Peter, thank you very much indeed. We'll see you later on.
Yeah, and as if that wasn't enough, yet more conflict. RAF Typhoon jets are that's British RAF Typhoon jets are taking part in NATO air defence missions in Poland.
Well, it follows reports that Russian fighter jets were spotted circling in NATO airspace in Estonia over the Gulf of Finland for about 12 minutes
and it comes
on Friday.
Yeah, it all happens as Poland rushed to defend its airspace after Russia fired hundreds of drones and missiles on Ukraine.
Let's talk to Defence Editor at this Evening Standard, Robert Fox. Hi, Robert.
Hello.
I mean, look, NATO has to respond in some way to this, and we've got to play a role in that, haven't we?
It's quite wild, really. Yeah, I think so, because I think there's real concern. What is Russia going to do next? Is this part of a plan? There are 3 incidents in under 10 days. As you say, the drones, 19 or 26, according to some accounts, go along the border of Poland, Belarus, and let's stick with that. There was a drone over Romania, or probably collective drones that they've seen. The Romanians are very interesting about that. They say we want to avoid shooting down at all costs. They don't want to, they've got a real border problem anyway. And then this thing with the jets over Estonian territory, more to the point, territorial waters. And what kind of jets? Actually, they were very good indeed. They were amongst the best, amongst the fastest, if not the fastest operational in the world.
Yeah, they were the ones that can carry hypersonic missiles.
MiG-31, and they switched off. They switched off their transponders. So this is testing time, isn't it? I think there are two things going on there very quickly, is that Russia is determined to close off with a successful offensive this autumn, not going too well on the ground, so they're bashing the west of Ukraine. That draws probably these three things together. I'm sure probably more likely that Romania was an overspill. Belarus tipped off Poland that these drones were coming earlier on, because they had been using the same route over again and they were getting round Lviv. They don't want the supplies coming in from Poland, coming in from the west, into western Ukraine. That tells you a story. But they're looking for pressure points. What were the latest flight doing, the three? They were saying, oh, we're protecting Kaliningrad. Sorry to be obscure, but Kaliningrad is the bit of Russia that sticks out between a Western ally and Belarus and Lithuania. And it's a little corridor, but it allows them to have Kaliningrad, this port, which could have nuclear missiles, right on the Baltic Sea. So there's now you see me, now you don't. But there's another big, don't look that way, look the other, which should be worrying Russia, and Russian propaganda is devoted to it, is how much of refining oil and gas the Ukrainians have been extremely successful in taking out.
So
40% refining capacity lost now. 40%.
So seriously, what were they doing? I mean, are they just trying it on to see what they can get away with? Or have they got serious reconnaissance work they need to do? Or was it an accident?
Accident by design and design by accident. It's probing, seeing how good they are. And the most important thing is how quick can NATO respond? Well, Poland invoked Article 4 of the founding treaty of NATO, the Washington Treaty, which means we get together. It's really saying, Houston, we got a problem here. That's interesting they're doing that. Estonia is doing the same for tomorrow. And the big question is how much is America committed to this? America is now 20% of armament supplies to Ukraine, whereas it's way, way up. But they need American intelligence and control. It's going to be very interesting to see, you know, with us dribbling in the patrols of the aircraft, only 2 aircraft, 2 more, I believe, have been committed to NATO, how much Starmer is prepared to get behind this, whether we're doing the minimum, because, of course, we're focused on the budget. And there are great fears that after all the hurrah, we're spending so much on defence, down the line, jam tomorrow, jam after tomorrow, jam never, 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 that actually Rachel Reeves is looking for a cut in defence, which is on its uppers anyway.
So it's going to be all about the timing as well.
We will. Thank you very much indeed. We'll see you later.
Yes. OK, should we catch up with what the weather has in store for us? I think it might be getting a little bit better for us this coming week. Over to Tom Morgan.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Today is going to be quite a bit colder than it was yesterday, but also brighter. There'll be some sunny spells, but also some heavy blustery showers in places, particularly focused across northern parts of Scotland, where they'll be quite frequent at times through the course of today. Some hail, some thunder mixed in there as well. Some showers also pushing down in across Northern Ireland, running down the Irish Sea into West Wales and South West England, and also affecting some North Sea coastal regions too. But many inland areas, particularly in the south, turning dry, and there will be a good deal of sunshine. So despite temperatures down on recent days, it might not feel too bad if you are in any shelter from that breeze, but overall quite a bit cooler with temperatures widely below average for the time of year. And where you're exposed to that strong northerly breeze across northern Scotland in particular, well, here it won't feel much more then about 3 or 4 degrees above freezing. So quite a cold feeling day to come here, and showers continuing through this evening and overnight. A few showers also for Northern Ireland and Northern England, but many inland areas turning dry to end the day, so there will be some sunny spells and actually a fine evening to come. So plenty of late sunshine across central and southern parts of England to end the weekend, and those clear skies persisting as we go through this evening and overnight. So temperatures really taking quite a nosedive, and we will have a cold night on the way to come. Some showers will continue in coastal regions, mainly in northeastern parts of Scotland, but also some drifting down across eastern parts of East Anglia as well. So temperatures widely falling into single figures tonight, and in some rural areas we're likely to see a grass frost and potentially temperatures falling down to freezing in the most prone spots. It does mean, though, underneath those clear skies, that it should be a much brighter start to the day on Monday. Plenty of sunshine and blue skies through most of the day for a good chunk of the UK. Just 1 or 2 showers, mainly for Kent and Sussex. A few showers and more cloud coming into parts of Scotland as well. But otherwise, plenty of sunshine for many of us. And despite it being still quite cool for the time of year, the winds will be a bit lighter, so it won't feel quite so cold.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Still to come for you, the Deputy Prime Minister.
Who
is
is
that? Is that David Lammy, isn't it now?
Yeah.
Anyway, he's announced a £15 million body armour boost for prison officers. Get some analysis on that in a moment.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts tomorrow at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts tomorrow at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Hello again, it's 6:24. In a major move, Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy has announced a significant increase in protective body armour for frontline prison officers.
Well, the measure is part of a £15 million investment over the government's plan for change, which we hear a lot about, introduced, though, in response to recent prison attacks.
Many of us were shocked by the outrage of prison officers being attacked in HMP Franklin just a few months ago. It's hugely important that this important work has officers feeling safe as they keep our country safe.
Certainly he's right there, isn't he, when we've heard of some terrible attacks on prison officers. You wonder how they could better be defended against that sort of thing.
Yeah, should we talk to... well, it's Reform UK's Justice Advisor, Vanessa Frake, but she was, of course, a governor as well, a prison governor. So you know your onions, Vanessa, when it comes to this sort of thing. I mean, is body armour... I mean, we can't say it's a bad thing, but is it going to be enough of a protection?
Look, first of all, good morning to you both. The stab vests are a long time coming. You know, we asked for these 10, 15 years ago and were told that it didn't give the right image of prison officers. And as we've seen over the years, you know, the lack of investments in our prisons, and prisons have got more violent, there's more drugs, there's more weapons, there's more assaults. I mean, the list is endless. It's finally reached government ears that the staff need some sort of protection. So I'm understood to see that all of those in the high security estate will be issued with made-to-measure stab vests. I mean, these things aren't cheap by any stretch of the imagination. But if they protect the staff, then you know that's got to be the best outcome. What I would like to see is something to curb the violence in prisons, rather than just arm the staff.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure, will point out that if you need a stab vest, you're accepting, aren't you, that there are knives around or sharpened other implements that can be fatal, actually, for a prison officer. But we've also heard stories of boiling water and boiling fat being thrown in prison officers' faces and hands and exposed parts. So a stab vest isn't going to be everything. And a lot of people will say, what about giving them all tasers?
Oh, please, no. You know, it's all very well for police to have tasers outside where there's plenty of room. You know, most prison cells are 6 foot by 8 foot. You know, there is just not the room. And then, of course, you've got user error. You've got prisoners high on drugs. You've got prisoners with mental health issues. And what happens when the first prisoner dies after being tasered? What happens when an officer is overpowered and that taser is taken off them? The risks to have every single officer on landings wandering around with a taser is just too great. And to be honest, most prison officers that I've spoken to wouldn't want that anyways.
So what do you do? I mean, right, the vests are a welcome step forward.
Yeah.
But you mentioned about sort of removing the risk in the first place. Well, how do you even begin to deal with that? Because, I mean, as you said a second ago, a lot of prisoners are high on drugs. We can't even stop the drugs getting in, never mind modify behaviour, can we?
No, you know, this is the deterioration of our prison service. You know, many prisons, a third of the prisoners are testing positive for drugs. Well, that just can't be right. When you have no regimes in a prison, no purposeful activity, prisoners are sat in their cells 23 hours a day, bored to tears. All they've got to turn to is drugs. And, you know, we're sending prisoners who didn't have a drug habit when they came in, we're sending them out on release now with a drug habit. You know, we've got drones, we've got very little good drone technology to stop the drones bringing drugs and, God forbid, weapons into jails. We've got poor regimes, we've got lack of staff, we've got overcrowding. I mean, Stephen, the list is absolutely endless. And, you know, anything that can be done to protect the staff, yes, absolutely. But it goes much, much deeper than that.
What about the ratio then? More staff, fewer prisoners?
Yes, I think, you know, more staff, absolutely. But I think there needs to be better vetting, better training, better support. You know, it's not just about, you know, opening the doors and saying, you know, come on in and be a prison officer, because the job is very complex, particularly now with all the complexities of the faults of our prison system.
Vanessa, as always, it's good to talk to you. Because, as I say, you've done the job, you know you understand it, and that's, I think, really important to get that across.
Yeah, and you're advising reform.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed.
I'm sure we'll talk again. Thank you.
Yeah, we were. Yeah. I think people underestimate what it's like in a prison.
Yes, because you've been in too.
Yes,
so
I've been quite
problems.
Yeah, I go in quite a lot to prisons, oddly enough.
And I asked that last question because I know a lot of people say that there are some prisoners for whom prison is the only answer. But maybe there are some in there who shouldn't be in there.
Possibly.
Because, as she was saying herself, they come in without a drug problem, but they go out with one. So something has to be done to address that. And we must always need more staff, but they need to be better valued.
They do need... yeah, staff is a big issue. Right, anyway, we're running out of time, so time for the Daily Reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, my name is Nimsa Bunge, and I'm the pastor of Freedom's Ark and member of the Evangelical Alliance here in the Tottenham Town Hall. In Luke chapter 17, verse 11 to 19, we learn lessons from the 10 lepers who cry out to Jesus for mercy. He hears them, heals them, but only one returns to give thanks. The first lesson is acceptance. The 10 lepers were outcasts, living on society's margins. Jesus' encounter reminds us that God's view is different. When the world sees rejection, God sees dignity. All who are marginalized are embraced and given hope. The second is forgiveness. The healing also points to forgiveness. God's acceptance extends beyond social exclusion. It touches the heart, releasing people from shame and fear. As Henry Nouwen once said, forgiveness is not an occasional act, it's a constant attitude. The third is restoration. Healing is not just about health, it is restoration. It reconnects the lepers to community, to faith and life itself. God restores what society sees as broken, making lives whole again. And the final is gratitude. Notice the response. Only one returned to express thanks. Our response to God's gift is meant to be gratitude, not entitlement. This story reminds us that our response to grace must always be thanksgiving. Let us pray. God of mercy, you accept the rejected. You forgive the guilty. You restore the broken. Teach us to live in gratitude, that we may not just be healed, but we may find wholeness in you. Amen.
Do stay with us, because still to come, Katarina Johnson-Thompson ties for bronze in a thrilling World Championship finish, apparently. We'll be told all about that and more with Aidan McGee in just a couple of moments.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
What do you think is the origin of this palace not being loved by the royal family as a place to live?
Well, you see, it's a little bit like an Edwardian hotel in Brighton. It's all long corridors and rooms off them. It's not very friendly as a place, you know. So the Queen and Prince Philip occupied the rooms along the Constitution Hill side. She had half of them and he had the other half. And if ever they came out into a corridor, you know, so it's just not very friendly. And of course, the other thing is that the gardens are now terribly overlooked by the Hilton and other big buildings, whereas the King living at Clarence House he has a very nice garden there, and it's not overlooked at all. I mean, I have seen Prince Philip's rooms because I worked with his office a lot, and I did a book about his mother, so I was there quite often. I haven't seen the Queen's rooms, but I'd love to see them.
Yes, and at the beginning of Queen Elizabeth II's reign, the palace was not open to the public at all, was it?
No, it wasn't. And actually, she didn't want to go and live there either. She was living in Clarence House, but Churchill said that it was sovereign's residence and she had to move in. He forced her to move in. And that was quite tricky because the Queen Mother and Princess Margaret were still living there at the beginning. And then they moved into Clarence House a little while later, somewhat before the coronation. The only reason that the palace was open as a public tourist attraction was to make money to pay for the fire damage of 1992 at Windsor Castle. And that was so successful that the opening has gone on ever since, and it raises money for the Royal Collection Trust in order to look after all the treasures which are held by the sovereign for the nation.
GB News, the People's Channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's time for the Great British Giveaway now. Still plenty of time for you to become our biggest winner to date. You get that 4-berth motorhome, 30 grand in your back pocket as well. Here's how you take part.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck indeed. And the big question is, did Manchester United have any good luck yesterday? Aidan McGee?
Yes, they did. Good morning to you both. Well, look, I mean, he cut quite a beleaguered figure in recent weeks since the start of the season, even at the end of last season, actually. Ruben Amorim, the manager, we heard from him yesterday. We'll hear from him in a minute, actually. But, yes, he did. They went into the game against Chelsea, who they tend to do quite well against, despite not doing that well against the other top 6 sides in the last few years. And, yes, what was key here, Am, is that Robert Sanchez, the Chelsea goalkeeper, just committed a foul from nowhere and got sent off after 5 minutes. It's rare that against a top opponent you'd lose or you'd be playing against 10 men after 5 minutes. I should caveat that by saying that United lost a player of their own at half-time or just before half-time, so it's not like they had it all their own way in the second half, but a 2-1 win was absolutely magnificent for them. 2-1 indeed, and we'll hear from Ruben Amorim now after that win over Chelsea at Old Trafford.
Everything is going well. We arranged something to make it difficult. Just the way that we start the game in the first ball, second ball. I remember in the when we score the first one, we have many situations, 3 against 1, 3 against 2, goalkeeper outside of the box. In the last pass, we are not being perfect in that moment, and that can help us a lot to control the games and to win games. But we suffer together in the end, and that was a good thing. If you look at the game, we deserve to win.
So that's Ruben Amorim there, looking a lot happier.
It's unusual to see him smile.
I know, exactly. Well, that's what a win can do. But, I mean, it's still, I think it's 7 wins now in 32 matches. There's lots to do for him. But if you're going to...
Maybe the tide has turned.
Well, yeah, exactly. Look, things can turn on the smallest things. And I'm not saying this was small yesterday. They beat a top 6 side, or a historical top 6 side at home. And that's just when things are going against you, sometimes you need a good performance from your players, which he certainly got. It was torrential rain as well, so conditions were difficult. And just a little bit of luck that you needed at the start when Chelsea had a man sent off. Had some great games yesterday as well. Liverpool winning the Merseyside derby by 2-1 against Everton. The big one today as well, Arsenal versus Manchester City at 4:30.
Is Bournemouth playing today?
Bournemouth, let's have a look. I think they are, actually. I'll check later on. I should normally got the list of fixtures in front of me, but I'll check later on. Yeah. But yeah, you'll be hoping they'll do well, I'm sure.
Can we talk KJT?
Why not? Yeah, Katarina Johnson-Thompson. This was fascinating yesterday in Tokyo because she needed to beat, who was it, Talia Brooks by 6 seconds yesterday in the final event. Now, there were 7 events in the heptathlon. She suffered heartache here, KJT, 4 years ago in the Olympics, of course, inside the same stadium, but she won her 4th global medal at this level yesterday because they were actually tied on 6,581 points by the end of the event yesterday.
To be that close.
I know, it's extraordinary, isn't it? You should see the reaction at the end of it as well. She could barely believe the scoreboard. And as teammates were coming up, well, not teammates, but people she was competing against in the race, were coming up to her and say, congratulations. And she was going, hang on, I'm not sure I believe this, but let me see confirmation. When she got confirmation, she was very happy because bronze was a very good achievement. Yeah. The coach as well, John Mitchell, said, we have very special talent on our hands. And she actually said afterwards as well, KJT, I have no words. I'm still in disbelief. It's getting harder to win these events, these tournaments, these races, because she's getting older, and there are obviously better competitors around on the scene as well. But she managed to succeed, and congratulations to her.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Aidan, thank you very much indeed. See you later.
Yeah, still to come. Royal revelations, I'm afraid. The Duchess of York will not like the newspapers today. She's facing a lot of scrutiny because of leaked emails that she apparently sent to Jeffrey Epstein. We'll tell you more about all of that in the newspapers with Christo and Claire. First of all, though, if you're after some holiday sun, here's where to go for it.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello. Whilst it's turning colder in the UK, plenty of warmth remains across many parts of the Mediterranean. Hot and sunny conditions across most of Greece and Turkey through the next couple of days, but much more unsettled across the central and western Med, particularly parts of Italy, and in the north we could see some flooding over the next couple of days. Showers for northern parts of Spain and Portugal perhaps as well, but mostly fine across the rest of Iberia, Madeira and the Canary Islands. And through the next few days it stays mostly fine and settled and very warm.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Bev.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
6:45, taking us through the papers this morning, the broadcaster Claire Muldoon and also broadcaster Christophe Foufas.
Yeah, but one's better than the other.
Don't put yourself down, Claire.
Oh, come on, I've got to stick up for the boys.
Do you?
I've got,
do
yes,
you really,
yes,
Anne? What do we think of that?
I can possibly say,
You walked
but
into that one, Claire.
I did
you walked
not.
into that one. Hey, we'll start with you, just to appease
No,
you.
don't.
No, we will. With the Sunday Telegraph and looking at these... Palestinian state. But Sir Keir Starmer is apparently going to appease everybody by applying sanctions to Hamas.
Well, I mean, how can you sanction a terrorist group? That would be my first question. The second thing is, to be honest with you, I think the two-state solution has always been mooted for Israel and Palestine from the get-go. And I think it's something that even the Israelis actually would have wanted at some point. So by him recognising Palestine as a state, he's following on from other countries that are doing the same, like Canada, for instance. And I think it's a good starting point, OK, in order to get some conversation going in the Middle East to try and bring an end to the absolute savage destruction of women and children and young men, etc., on both sides. OK? I think that's a crucial point, that this has to stop. The hostages have to be released, but also going back to my first point, I don't know what kind of sanctions Starmer would talk about to put in force in front of Hamas, who are a terrorist organisation.
But isn't this, I mean, the argument which is made against this, and particularly by families of the hostages, is that what Starmer is doing is rewarding Hamas for what it did. I know it goes back a very, very, very long time. However, in this incident, Hamas started this with October the 7th, and now they're getting rewarded, it would seem.
Well, would they be rewarded? Because Israel would still have the ability to staff and man the border of Palestine from the West Bank. So they would still, in perpetuity, be the law and order for the people of Palestine and Gaza, which I think is... It's very, very troublesome in parts because of the way that they were allowed to live. They were existing in Palestine. They weren't allowed any planning organisation. They weren't allowed to plan or build homes. And often the optic from Israel's side, if you looked over, it was very bleak, very desolate. And one would hope that now it's razed practically to the ground now with what's happening in that area by the Israeli IDF and the rest of the security services. So one would actually hope that it would actually just finish it all and stop and try and get some infiltration and get some policy in. And Starmer made one caveat. He also said that he would allow this to happen as long as Hamas were not in control. But that, of course, is up to the Palestinian people who voted Hamas in when they were a political party.
And Hamas have been there in control for so long. What is and who is or is not Hamas?
And also, I mean, I think that this is a worthy destination, right, to get to. But I do understand those people who are saying, look, this is potentially quite soon after as well. I mean, let's look at places like Northern Ireland. It wasn't sort of straight after horrific terror attacks that everyone sat down together. And that is absolutely the key point here. When Keir Starmer gave his initial speech about this, I don't think he actually mentioned the hostages, other than to say, you know, oh, we're all worried about them. If that was an absolute, definite, you know, set-in-stone criteria, and look, these hostages need to be released, there needs to be Hamas taken out and an assurance that that was that for them, then I could see that as a good incentive. However, my worry is that this is actually going to be rewarding Hamas for something that happened on October the 7th, the horrific attacks on October 7th. Now, that's not to say
horrific attacks daily on Gaza.
Of course, and no one wants to see innocent people die. And I think it's absolutely reasonable to talk about the proportion from Israel. And it's not anti-Semitic to do so.
No, it's not.
We did so ourselves when we were bombing Afghanistan, when we were bombing places looking for the Taliban. We asked ourselves, was that proportionate? Was that the right thing to do? I think it's important when you have these conversations that you reflect a bit without it being seen as a form of prejudice.
Yeah.
But I do have concerns about this because I think that he hasn't specified strongly enough that there needs to be an end to any hostilities from Hamas and that the hostages need to be released.
Because he's not a leader, Crystal. You know, he flip-flops and capitulates all the time.
Of course, yes.
But I'm really glad you brought up that it's not anti-Semitic to say any of this, because often, if anyone were to make any criticism of Israel or even of the IDF, we're branded anti-Semites, which is not the case. You can criticise without being... It's making a political point.
Yes, yeah. No, I agree with that entirely. But one thing which I never understand is swept under the carpet is the idea that, I mean, yes, there are... the civilian casualties in this is an absolute tragedy.
Yeah.
But Hamas is putting rocket launch sites in schools and hospitals and domestic homes. They're not allowing the aid which is there to be distributed amongst its own people. They're taking it for themselves. So a lot of these things which are seen as horrific is still the fault of Hamas.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is...
That's a very fair comment, very fair comment.
On both sides, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not all just on Hamas.
But Israel are trying to eradicate a terrorist organisation, and I mean, they're going full great guns doing it.
Why do you think America are funding all of this?
Because Israel are such an ally. They're surrounded, and I think that was... I was listening to Peter Barnes earlier on my way in, and I think he was making some really good points about it. I didn't agree with his point about anti-Semitism, but they are surrounded by all of these other states in the region that want to eradicate America and eradicate Israel.
So do you think it's the buffer, then, for the states against the Middle East?
Yes. Yes.
You look at the geography of it, it breaks your heart.
It does. It really does, Anne.
And the live pictures that were coming out of Gaza yesterday, I was watching on the television. It's starving, desperate people and absolutely nowhere to live, just masses of concrete. And with a beautiful blue sea and miles and miles of beach.
I know.
And you think, this is just wicked.
Yeah, it is.
It's evil.
Yeah.
But there's no. I think it's a very grey area. It's not black and white.
Well, two things can be true at the same time. You can find it horrific what is happening to the innocent people in Gaza and the reasons why they're there, but you can also have absolute sympathy with the position of Israel to want to eradicate Hamas and to get their hostages back. Both of those things can be true.
Right, we're almost out of time. But we've got a minute, Christo. Can we talk about the King?
Oh, yeah,
that
this is a
all
nice
the girls
story.
were in love with.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this is right. This is the king visiting the lovely, she was 116, she is 116, Ethel Caterham, and when she was visited by the king to celebrate the fact that she's 116, the world's oldest woman, she said to him in his youth, all the girls were in love with you. Did they say that about you?
Always.
But they used to. Don't you remember? No, you don't. I do. I don't know if you remember that. But when Prince Charles was, or King Charles was younger, that's all the newspapers used to talk about, is who the new girlfriend was, and it was always some European princess. Was he going to marry her?
But do you know what I loved about that?
The girls loved him.
What I loved about what Ethel was saying was she was saying, well, I remember when your mum took you to Carnarvon Castle, and it was just like a dead ordinary conversation. I thought that was lovely.
You can do that when you're 116.
Right, thanks you two. See you later. Here's the weather.
Thank you.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Today is going to be quite a bit colder than it was yesterday, but also brighter. There'll be some sunny spells, but also some heavy blustery showers in places, particularly focused across northern parts of Scotland, where they'll be quite frequent at times through the course of today. Some hail, some thunder mixed in there as well. Some showers also pushing down in across Northern Ireland, running down the Irish Sea into West Wales and South West England, and also affecting some North Sea coastal regions too. But many inland areas, particularly in the south, turning dry, and there will be a good deal of sunshine. So despite temperatures down on recent days, it might not feel too bad if you are in any shelter from that breeze, but overall quite a bit cooler with temperatures widely below average for the time of year. And where you're exposed to that strong northerly breeze across northern Scotland in particular, well, here it will feel much more than about 3 or 4 degrees above freezing. So quite a cold feeling day to come here, and showers continuing through this evening and overnight. A few showers also for Northern Ireland and Northern England, but many inland areas turning dry to end the day, so there will be some sunny spells and actually a fine evening to come. So plenty of late sunshine across central and southern parts of England to end the weekend, and those clear skies persisting as we go through this evening and overnight. So temperatures really taking quite a nosedive, and we will have a cold night on the way to come. Some showers will continue in coastal regions, mainly in northeastern parts of Scotland, but also some drifting down across eastern parts of East Anglia as well. So temperatures widely falling into single figures tonight, and in some rural areas we're likely to see a grass frost and potentially temperatures falling down to freezing in the most prone spots. It does mean, though, underneath those clear skies, that it should be a much brighter start to the day on Monday. Plenty of sunshine and blue skies through most of the day for a good chunk of the UK. Just 1 or 2 showers, mainly for Kent and Sussex. A few showers and more cloud coming into parts of Scotland as well. But otherwise, plenty of sunshine for many of us. And despite it being still quite cool for the time of year, the winds will be a bit lighter, so it won't feel quite so cold.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Blinds close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though. I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. The Prime Minister is set to recognise a Palestinian state.
Yes, the announcement is coming later today. And of course, it's after the government made that promise to do just that, unless Israel met certain conditions.
However, critics are hitting out, including Nigel Farage, who believes the Palestinian state can't be separated, at the moment at least, from Hamas.
And there are new royal revelations which the Duchess of York will not want to read about today. But they're in all the newspapers. She's facing fresh scrutiny after leaked emails have revealed that she privately described Jeffrey Epstein, after he was already convicted, as still her steadfast, generous and supreme friend.
RAF Typhoon jets joined the NATO air defence mission following Russian incursions into European airspace.
And in Arizona, thousands are going to gather later today for Charlie Kirk's memorial, with President Trump, Vice President Vance and top US officials all going there.
And King Charles meets the world's oldest person, Ethel. She's 116.
Oh yes, 3 long months till Christmas. You can tell because they've just started Strictly Come Dancing. We'll bring you all of the highlights from the very first night.
Also, more than 40% of UK adults are now single. It's a number that's surged over the past 30 years. Are we turning into a bit of a sad and lonely nation?
Manchester United have lift-off after beating Chelsea in torrential rain at Old Trafford. Elsewhere in the Premier League, pressure is building on West Ham manager Graham Potter. And at the World Athletics Championships, Team GB's Katarina Johnson-Thompson shares bronze in the heptathlon.
Were you kept awake by the wind and the rain last night? Well, dry weather is on the way. I'll have all the details coming up.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast. An interesting one, that to debate. I mean, the idea that so many adults now are choosing to, or
are they choosing to?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. To remain single for the rest of their lives. I mean, you were single for a long time, yeah?
Very long time.
Love suddenly came.
Well, this is it. And actually, I decided that I was not looking, did not want anyone. I was perfectly happy being single. I was very content. And that was they often say it's when you're not looking.
Well, they really do.
Don't they? And then I got swept off my feet.
Yeah.
Quite literally. But wouldn't change a thing.
No, and you're very happy, and that's happy. Wonderful. But you're not necessarily sad if you'd just gone on being single. You wouldn't necessarily be sad. I don't think we should call single people sad, or at least assume they are, should we, Aidan?
No.
Eh?
No, not at all.
Assume that because
no, not at all. It's growing as well as a phenomenon. No question about it.
The only thing I think as a country is it's very expensive to be single.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, if there are two of you together, basically two salaries coming into one home, makes life a bit easier than always being on your own.
You get 25% off your council tax, though.
You do. This is true.
Oh, wow.
This
that
is
won't
true.
last long, will it?
That was the one thing when we got married, I thought, I'm going to have to change this with the council tax.
Oh, dear. You immediately thought of that. Of course you didn't.
God.
No.
But no, I don't think you should be... If you want to be single, be single. But, you know, you should never rule anything out.
Does it not cause a problem with the birth rate, though?
Yes, there is a huge problem with the birth rate. Yeah.
Yeah, but we've got too many people in the country. Haven't we? We haven't got enough houses for anyone at the minute. There's all this issue with how big our population has grown, yet we say there's a birth rate problem.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's because the way we construct our society is that you need more generations of younger people so that they'll end up working, paying their taxes to keep you in your old age.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, it goes on. It's
this young lot who make our programmes here at GB News, all clapping in the background. I don't know why they're clapping. You all need to start working harder and reproducing because me and Anne want looking after.
Yeah,
basically. You lazy devils in our ears.
I'll look
anyway. You're not much younger than me.
I'm significantly younger, but
but quite
just
a
couple of years.
Then.
Yeah, but you're not single anymore, are you, Aidan?
No, that's the thing.
He's very happily ensconced now.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, a very beautiful young lady. She's a stunner, you know.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What's he done to deserve
I
that?
don't know. I really don't know. But she's a real stunner. Yeah. Anyway, look, let's crack on. Because, and this may get your blood boiling, maybe not, Sir Keir Starmer is preparing to officially recognise the state of Palestine this weekend.
Yeah, questions have now been raised over why the Prime Minister waited until after President Trump had sort of gone back to America to make that announcement.
Meanwhile, Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch has accused the government of rewarding terror with the move.
But, of course, it doesn't come as a surprise to so many people to think, well, of course he would wait until President Trump went back, because it's not something they're going to particularly agree on. Let's talk to political commentator Peter Barnes. A lot of people have been in touch agreeing with what you said last hour, that, well, I don't know, tell us again, what do you think? Would it make any difference at all, Keir Starmer saying this?
Oh, so in terms of its difference, what it is lending credibility to a terrorist organisation. That is what it is. It's not necessarily going to make an on-the-ground kind of instantly everything changes kind of moment. What this is the international community acknowledging the existence and the credibility and legitimacy of a terrorist organisation. That's what it is. That's what this is. In the name of us, the taxpayer, that is what this government is choosing to do. I thought we were supposed to be against terrorism. Seems very much in favour of it at the moment.
But as Claire Muldoon was saying in the paper review a few minutes ago, you know, I mean, a two-state solution has long been recognised as the way forward to this. And she said, well, at least this is a step in the right direction of trying to achieve that, maybe a nudge to Israel in trying to achieve that.
A two-state solution, it's not possible when one side wants to eradicate the other. That is the reality. A two-state solution has been the kind of sticking plaster that we've all talked about, but not really tackled head-on and said, wait a minute, how can these two coexist when one wants to eradicate the other simply for existing? It's not that there's any territorial... They don't like Jews. They don't like the people. It is hate. It is the embodiment of hate. And so the idea that you could have them living side by side is just... It's a nonsense to me, and it should be to everybody. I do think that we have used the two-state solution to kick the can down the road on this issue because we don't want to admit that one side is the goodies and one side is the baddies. We are not brave enough as a nation to actually say that.
No, but this is where it gets obviously complicated because the concern is about what is happening to the Palestinian people. The concern you're raising is about the leadership, which is Hamas, which is what Israel says it wants to eradicate. And even the Prime Minister with this has sort of said, yes, we recognise Palestine, but we want Hamas out.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the proviso that he's had to put in there because, you know, he did it at the end because in the original statement he didn't actually have anything to say about the hostages or anything to say. It was all straight Israel is the bad guy. This was when the first statement of this came out, it was quite a shocking statement and a big flaw that came out of Downing Street on this. But I will say that Yes, I can understand people's concern about the horrific incidents. The pictures are awful. However, the reason it is like that is because of Hamas. They have put the military operations in schools, in hospitals, in civilian areas. That is why the devastation is so wide. That is why civilians are so high. Hamas have used its own people as human shields, and they are continuing to do it today. And for that, Israel is getting the blame. I don't think that is fair, and I don't think that's right.
But the trouble is that Israel is causing the sort of devastation that we're seeing on our screens at the moment. You can't even imagine how people go on living there. And they're still not getting to the problem they want.
Yeah, I think it's because we keep thinking that this is going to be quite a quick solution. We have no kind of resilience anymore. The actual wars go on, and this might go on for a very long time, because in reality we've pulled back. We haven't got involved properly in what I think we should have quite some time ago. We haven't supported Israel in the way that we should have.
If we recognise Palestine as a state, are there any... what are the legalities about that? Does that automatically give Palestinians some rights to claim asylum here, for instance?
So, yeah, in terms of the legal side of it, it is more it is the first step that you get to be a fully fledged state or a member of the UN, or, they would get a certain kind of privileges and more recognition as the state. Don't forget, there's I think it's 140 countries already recognise it already. It's just the big players, the big nations, for an unfair caricature, that actually don't. And it's actually interesting now that is starting to turn. It's Canada, Malta, Portugal, us, France, of course. Yeah. There's quite a few now in quite quick succession, and this is a reaction on their part to stop Israel doing the horrific actions. However, for us in the UK, it is all to do with internal politics. It is all to do with the fact that the backbenchers are controlling Keir Starmer and controlling the government now. This is Corbynism on speed with a huge majority. This is what it would have looked like if Corbyn had won.
So is this a cynical nod to the Corbynistas?
100%. They are in complete control of this now. You look at all the fault lines within the Labour Party, and there are a lot of them. With Neil Kinnock come out today and said that he wanted to rejoin the European Union. We had Andy Burnham making an open challenge to Keir Starmer, and look like they've manoeuvred him out of that, luckily, for Keir Starmer. But it's just breathing room. It's not control. It's not leadership. And because there is no leadership, all of these issues are now spiralling out of control around Keir Starmer. And they are becoming ideological litmus tests for the Labour Party. And it's a very dangerous place for this party to be. And it's a dangerous place for the country, because we have an economic problem, we've got geopolitical problems, we've got housing, everything. And unfortunately, we don't seem to have a leader at the moment.
All right, Peter, thank you very much indeed. Lots of comments coming in this morning. Yes. I have to say, mainly appreciating what you're saying. I mean, Susan says, and it's an interesting point, why aren't people starving in Gaza, crossing a border into a Muslim country for help? It's not that easy to get out at the moment. That's a big issue. But there is an argument to say, why aren't Muslim countries doing more? Why is England involved in everything, she says. And I get that. I think we are...
Well, I think because a lot of people will feel that this government is sort of rather more... Maybe it's distraction from domestic problems, but this government is very motivated to look abroad and...
Well, we need to be an international country in that way and be on the world stage, but it is... I get your point. When we've got so many issues at home, it does feel like there's a lot of focus abroad, but then we can't just sit back and ignore it, can we?
John makes the point a lot of people are making. Once again, Keir Starmer is worried about stuff going on in other countries than his own country, and people are not happy, for instance, with kids coming here from Gaza using the NHS when our own people have been waiting years for treatment. Things like that will cause even more resentment.
All right, keep your thoughts coming through. You know how. Should we talk about what's been going on with Russia over the last week or two, and particularly the last few days? Because RAF Typhoon jets are now taking part in NATO air defence missions in Poland.
It follows reports that Russian fighter jets, of course, were spotted circling over NATO airspace in Estonia for around 12 minutes on Friday.
Well, Poland rushed to defend its airspace after Russia fired hundreds of drones and missiles on Ukraine, and there were loads of... I mean, performing air incursions has also been a major, major problem.
Let's speak to Defence Editor at The Standard, Robert Fox. It reminds me of the Cold War, Robert. It's just this... it's like playing off against each other, Russia pushing the boundaries, but you don't know how dangerous it could be.
The hot and cold war, it does. The hot and cold tap go on and off. And I think you're right, but particularly if you read what Putin has been saying and the various people of his inner circle, and you have to look at this sort of 25 or 30 so people with the Russian Security Council. It's confusing. But you see, they play hard men, soft men. By the way, there's not much accommodation at the moment. There's not much talk about peace. You get extravagant claims, and this is where Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania come in. You get Medvedev, who's played in and out, who's very much a deputy dog to Putin, has been prime minister, has been briefly president, says we wish to claim back for the Russian Federation, former parts of the Soviet Union, particularly those now members of NATO. It means those three countries. So they're playing a tough game. Putin says we're winning by numbers, and they do have overwhelming advantage in numbers and by equipment, and we're going to win. Really? That means he's predicting a long war in which he will challenge, confront, but not conflict with NATO if he can avoid it. He can't afford it at the moment. We're in for a very, very long haul at the moment, but what's happening to the Russian people? Because they really are beginning to suffer. This is undeniable. The attacks on Russian energy right across the piece, right up to Siberia now, are important, although you get it poo-pooed. And I'm utterly confused because I have to read such a confusing amount of evidence, and you don't know what is reliable, including official sources. So-called.
I mean, this is the whole issue. I mean, it's long been said the only way to deal with this is to deal with Putin, but is to deal with it internally, and which is presumably what the secondary sanctions would do, because that's going to affect the Russian people. But at what point would they start to turn? I mean, it's a very difficult task, isn't it?
But also, it is very difficult because we've got this thing, Eastern Century, and Britain signed up to it and has committed Typhoon aircraft, I think now twice over. I mean, one that they've said they're prepared to put them back on the ground in Poland, not very many, mind you. And we've had the patrol up just doing what it was doing. We are there to patrol the borders of NATO. But I've just been reading stuff coming in about Italy saying, we're not, after all, we're not going to send Italian Typhoon aircraft, because it's exactly what you say about Russia. There is a mishmash between Giorgia Meloni and the Iron Man, the number 2, Matteo Salvini, who wants to do a deal with Russia over gas. Very interesting. A lot of people want to do deals, and a lot of gas has been coming west. But there's going to be less and less of it because of the attacks there. It's the algebra of warfare that is really so difficult, and it is confusing the battle on the ground in Ukraine. Sorry to go back to your previous speaker. It's why Israel looks to be absolutely stuck in Gaza, because you mentioned drones, very, very copious use of artillery, 27,000 shells fired a day in Ukraine. The infantry, that's the PBI, the men and women with the boots on the ground, can't go in and take and hold ground. And that is the story of the summer offensive of Russia. Huge amounts of effort and lives expended. Why they're having it such a difficult time in moving in Gaza, because really they could only hold, it seems to me, pieces of Gaza unless you use kinetic just to destroy everything in the way, so you go into an empty space. And this is the conundrum we all have to face. And do we have an interest in it? Yes, because we've been involved in the creation of Israel, and the whole argument, by the way, and just to ask you absolutely rightly about two states, began at the very beginning with this. How do you accommodate two peoples in this area?
Robert, we've got to leave it there. Thank you very much.
All day about
we could do, because your expertise is accrued over a very long time, Robert.
But
it is today A very special birthday for you.
Robert is 80 today. Congratulations.
I'll deny it. I'll deny it. Thank you both very much. It's wonderful working with you too. And I must say.
It's been wonderful watching your career. I go right back to the Falklands when I really first heard your name.
I was a stripling then, but I was in my mid-30s.
So was I.
I'd already been
stripling.
doing red brigades and been kidnapped.
Oh, my goodness me.
No, well, it's very wonderful of you to share your big day with us. Thank you very much.
It's amazing.
I want to show that I'm still working, by the way, for hire.
That proves the point, doesn't it? Absolutely.
Thanks.
Right, well, let's hope for Robert that it's a nice day today. Here's Tom.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Today is going to be quite a bit colder than it was yesterday, but also brighter. There'll be some sunny spells, but also some heavy blustery showers in places, particularly focused across northern parts of Scotland, where they'll be quite frequent at times through the course of today. Some hail, some thunder mixed in there as well. Some showers also pushing down in across Northern Ireland, running down the Irish Sea into West Wales and South West England, and also affecting some North Sea coastal regions too. But many inland areas, particularly in the south, turning dry, and there will be a good deal of sunshine. So despite temperatures down on recent days, it might not feel too bad if you are in any shelter from that breeze, but overall quite a bit cooler with temperatures widely below average for the time of year. And where you're exposed to that strong northerly breeze across northern Scotland in particular, well, here it will feel much more than about 3 or 4 degrees above freezing. So quite a cold feeling day to come here, and showers continuing through this evening and overnight. A few showers also for Northern Ireland and Northern England, but many inland areas turning dry to end the day, so there will be some sunny spells and actually a fine evening to come. So plenty of late sunshine across central and southern parts of England to end the weekend, and those clear skies persisting as we go through this evening and overnight. So temperatures really taking quite a nosedive, and we will have a cold night on the way to come. Some showers will continue in coastal regions, mainly in northeastern parts of Scotland, but also some drifting down across eastern parts of East Anglia as well. So temperatures widely falling into single figures tonight, and in some rural areas we're likely to see a grass frost and potentially temperatures falling down to freezing in the most prone spots. It does mean, though, underneath those clear skies, that it should be a much brighter start to the day on Monday. Plenty of sunshine and blue skies through most of the day for a good chunk of the UK. Just 1 or 2 showers, mainly for Kent and Sussex. A few showers and more cloud coming into parts of Scotland as well. But otherwise, plenty of sunshine for many of us. And despite it being still quite cool for the time of year, the winds will be a bit lighter, so it won't feel quite so cold.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Right, it's time for the Great British Giveaway now. Still plenty of time for you to become our biggest winner to date. Of course, driving away that new 4-berth motorhome and also 30 grand tax-free in your back pocket. Here's how to take part.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, still to come for you, leaked emails reveal a close tie between Sarah Ferguson and Jeffrey Epstein. And it's controversial. We'll take a closer look for you in just a moment.
Miriam
You can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
There's a big change in the age of parents, so first-time parents are getting older and older. There's been a significant increase in the number of men over 60 becoming fathers, a 15% increase in just 1 year, and an increase in the number of babies born to foreign parents. But what's really, really concerning is that what's called the total fertility rate, that's the average number of babies that each woman has over her childbearing life, has gone down again, and it's now at a record low, just 1.41 children on average per woman, and of course we need about 2.1 to have a stable population. Now, a lot of people think, well, why don't we want the population to decline? We've been warning about burgeoning population for 50, 60 years now, but I think the really important factor to consider here is it's not really the overall size of the population that matters so much as the proportion of young to old, because that is what we need in order to have enough people working, enough people paying taxes to support people who are retired, to support people who are sick. And that is going down and down and down with huge economic consequences.
Do the figures divide it so that they can say whether the children are of African heritage or of this or of that? Does it tell you those sorts of statistics as well? And if so, what are the... What are they?
Yes, so we know the nationality of mothers who give birth, and in terms of foreign mothers, the greatest number of babies are born to women of Indian and Pakistani heritage. So they are the biggest numbers, the biggest nationalities. But I think what's really important to note is that even with the huge and unpopular levels of immigration that we've had, even with those levels, the birth rate is still falling and the ratio of young to old is still going down.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts tomorrow at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
7:26. Oh, bless you. You all right?
Sorry.
There we go. Stop coughing. That fellow will be messaging in again.
Oh, yes, he doesn't like me coughing.
Doesn't like you coughing.
Sorry about that.
Now,
choke instead.
Yes.
I'll tell you
Quietly.
what will make the Duchess of York...
Oh, what a segue.
Choking, yeah, when she sees the Daily Mail front page and the Sun front page today.
Yeah, it's all about her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, so it's been revealed, and the Mail say they've seen the emails or letters, that the Duchess of York described the disgraced financier as steadfast, generous and a supreme friend. And she wrote to him saying that after she'd already told the rest of the world that she was going to cut ties with him because he was an appalling person.
Yes, after she'd borrowed $15,000 off him.
Yes.
All gets a bit complicated. So what's going on? Well, the man in the know should be Royal Butler, former Royal Butler, Grant Harold. Morning to you, Grant. I mean, this is a mess, isn't it?
It's not exactly the kind of headlines she'll be wanting to read this morning, because, as you said, obviously she was very clear about severing those ties, and now with this coming out that there was obviously email communication, it's not great, and it's also embarrassing for herself and for the royal family.
Yes, because we saw her. I mean, gradually she seems to have worked her way back into the fold. At Christmases, she's never actually been invited to Balmoral, even though her daughters have. But now we saw her at the recent funeral, and it was as though she is being welcomed back. This, though, is going to be horrendously embarrassing for people who feel strongly about this whole Epstein business. Obviously, the King, and particularly Prince William.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, the interesting thing is, Anne, she's been kind of part of the royal family for quite a while now. I mean, rejoining the royal family for quite a while now, even though, obviously, Prince Andrew and herself are divorced. We all know they've been friends for many, many years. And the friendship's obviously continued. She's obviously around, as you said, more and more publicly. We're getting to see her. And it's you know, it's interesting to kind of see how she has kind of come back into the fold. But as I said, getting these kind of headlines and being associated or shown as an association that she had with him, even though she said she severed the ties, is definitely embarrassing. And it will, without question, raise, you know, people will be wanting to kind of know why she did it, you know, why she was doing these emails. And as you mentioned, maybe it was borrowing the money. Maybe I read that she may have felt that she had to because she was worried. But I would have thought this is kind of digging out a hole, really.
Let's just tell you what a spokesman for the Duchess has said. They said the Duchess spoke of her regret about her association with Epstein many years ago, and as they have always been, her first thoughts are with his victims. Like many people, she was taken in by his lies. As soon as she was aware of the extent of the allegations against him, she not only cut off contact, but condemned him publicly to the extent that he then threatened to sue her for defamation for associating him with paedophilia. She does not resile from anything she said then. This email was sent in the context of advice the Duchess was given to try to assuage Epstein and his threats. So that's a response.
So, I mean, the timeline seems to be that she borrowed £15,000 off him and then obviously considered him a friend. Once he was convicted, she then was advised, and it is sort of assumed that it might even be just by her publishers, because, of course, she was writing children's books at the time. So she had that reputation as a children's author to protect. So she publicly cut him off, and she publicly said she said, "I abhor paedophilia and any sexual abuse of children, and I know that this was a gigantic error of judgment on my behalf." So there's no doubt that she publicly disowned him, as it were. But then only weeks later wrote him this gushing letter saying, "I didn't mean it, I only did it because I had to." How do you explain it? How's she going to explain it to anyone?
It's really difficult. I mean, I do believe that, you know, those comments about, you know, cutting him out of her life and everything, I totally believe that. I mean, she is a, I don't know if you've ever met her, but she's a very kind, genuine person. She really is. She's also somebody that, you know, never wants to kind of upset people. Now, if she's borrowed money and maybe she did have this fear or worry that maybe he might cause her a problem, which is potentially why she did the email, but it was just really bad advice, you know, given... This is what's so weird, you know, we've seen different members of the royal family over the years seem to be given extraordinary advice, and they do things that just don't kind of make sense. And this is maybe more the question is who's given, as you said, even if it's the publicist, who's given the advice and why are they giving them such bad advice? Because, you know, they really shouldn't be getting involved in these kind of things or doing these kind of things, because this is why we're talking about it, and it's just going to cause, as I said, more problems. And if anything, today there'll be questions getting raised about it and questioning, you know, is it safe for her? Is it a good idea for her to be seen with members of the royal family if these are the emails that are getting put out and about?
Let's turn our attention to happier things, should we? Because in the nicest possible way, Grant, the King was brought very much down to earth by 116-year-old Ethel Caterham. Let's just have a quick look at what happened.
I remember when you your mother crowned you in Carnarvon Castle. And all the girls were in love with you.
I just think that's so lovely.
I didn't quite hear what she was saying at the beginning, but basically she's saying, oh, I remember you when you were, you know, just a young prince at Carnarvon Castle and everything, and all the girls were in love with you.
I think Queen Camilla is going to be worried, isn't she? This is a potential new girlfriend on the scene. I think it's lovely. And you know the nice thing about the King? He's so good at this. I remember, you know, with the elderly and hospices and those kind of places, you know, making kind of quiet visits, and he was always very kind, you know, and this is something he's very good at, and it's great he went along and as Ethel went and saw Ethel, and you know, you can see he's very good at engaging with the elderly, but he would have found that quite funny because in fact, you know, saying that they were all in love with him. I mean, he was, you know, can I say, he was quite a good looking chap, you know, back in the day, and it's probably quite nice for him to kind of hear that they all thought that.
Do you know what? The thing that I really like about it, Gran, is the fact that she refers to Queen Elizabeth as, you know, I remember when you and your mother, and it just makes it so more normalised. And what can you say to someone who's 116? You know, it's the fact he shows her such respect.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
He does, and as I said,
with the wisdom of her age, she just sort of took him on, didn't she? She wasn't that... I was going to say she wasn't that impressed. She obviously was, and it meant a lot to her. But she just felt that she could talk to him because he was just a youngster compared to her.
Yeah, youngster. It's lovely.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of people... Isn't it interesting? I think a lot of that generation, they still see him as this young... Don't they? As this young prince, and they do talk to him. I've seen other people talk to him the same way. And as you mentioned, referring to the Queen as his mother, I love that. And it's very down to earth. And he would have quite liked that. And it was so nice to see that interaction between the two of them.
It was. It really was. Grant, good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so glad he went along, though.
Yeah, yeah. I love stuff like that.
After all that, because it was just after Donald Trump had gone and everything, and the next item on his list is, oh, yes, he's got to go and meet her. And I just think that is just smashing.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, still to come, you get to meet Aidan McGee, and he'll tell us about West Ham's manager under pressure. I'll tell you more in a moment.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts tomorrow at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel. At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Right, Aidan's got the sport. Good morning.
Good morning to you both.
What should we start with this hour?
Well, look, we touched on Man United last hour. Ruben Amorim under pressure gets that little bit of good fortune that he needs. They overcame Chelsea at Old Trafford, didn't they? But there was another manager under pressure yesterday. Well, they're all under pressure, really, because I think it was Sam Allardyce who said maybe 20-odd years ago, all managers are only ever 6 games away from the sack, barring 1 or 2 exceptions. And yesterday, Graham Potter, the West Ham manager, he really needed a win. It looked like a winnable game at home to Crystal Palace, even though Palace weren't in bad form.
He's a fairly new appointment, isn't he?
He was appointed in January, but they don't get long these days, Stephen. You know, you can last the 18 months in a job now, and in the Premier League, in the Championship especially, you can probably become the 6th or 7th longest serving manager in the league over that time. They are so disposable. When I was a kid, people used to talk about, we're going to go the Spanish way, we're going to go the continental way, we're just going to dispense with managers. But hopefully not, because we're better than that over here. We've gone completely that way. Largely because the clubs are foreign-owned and that's the way they operate. They just think that, you know, if the manager's not cutting it after 6 months, then away they go. Graham Potter has not succeeded, really. I mean, he kept West Ham up last season, I suppose you could say, but they didn't really gain any momentum. And at the start of this season, we saw protests last night or yesterday before their game against Crystal Palace, 300 fans outside. We've got a picture of it, I think, of the banner that was held up outside the London Stadium. That isn't really the protest against the manager per se, but it is a protest against how the club is being run. But nonetheless, a 2-1 defeat against Crystal Palace at home. The suggestions now in the media throughout the morning are that West Ham are considering replacements now. Slaven Bilic, who managed them between 2016 and 2018, will be somebody who is considered. He also played for the club between 95 and 97. And another consideration is Nuno Espirito Santo, who, of course, did so well with Nottingham Forest last season, briefly Tottenham manager 4 years ago. And we'll see what happens. But I think it's reached a point now where West Ham will look to make a change. And Graham Potter, who was linked with the England job not so long ago, had a great time with Brighton and Hove Albion, didn't do so well with Chelsea. What next for him? But let's, before we consider what's next for him, let's wait and see what West Ham do. But I think they will act this week.
What about the women's rugby?
Yes, good performance by England. Didn't have it their own way. I think it was 35-17 against France in the semi-final. The first time they've really been tested in this tournament, really. They are through to the final next Saturday, which we know is a sellout. They're playing against Canada, who have been crowdfunded to get here. They pulled off an amazing shock. It's extraordinary. They pulled off an amazing shock the day before against New Zealand on the Friday night. Both matches were in Bristol. That's what's great about this tournament. It's getting around the country, which is fantastic. John Mitchell had this to say yesterday after England's win over France at Ashton Gate in Bristol.
Well, we've earned the right to contest the final. So it's a new game in itself. No one really remembers how you get there. No one will ever remember how we won today over time. So we just got to, again, stay on process, narrow our focus. We've got a short week. We've got to recover well as well and have some fun and really enjoy the week as well, with it being in our country. And the 2 best teams in the world are in the final. How good's that?
So that's John Mitchell striking an upbeat tone there. But just remember, when they've been in 7 World Cup finals now, England. But just consider they were overwhelming favourites against New Zealand 4 years ago. They lost in the final. There'll be no room for complacency.
Absolutely not. Aidan, thank you. We'll see you later.
Still to come, the government are planning another hit on private schools. But this time, it's through Ofsted. We'll tell you more about that when we look through the papers with Claire Muldoon there and Christo Fufas. First of all, though, here are some hints on where to go if you're in search of some holiday sun.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello. Whilst it's turning colder in the UK, plenty of warmth remains across many parts of the Mediterranean. Hot and sunny conditions across most of Greece and Turkey through the next couple of days, but much more unsettled across the central and western Med, particularly parts of Italy, and in the north we could see some flooding over the next couple of days. Showers for northern parts of Spain and Portugal perhaps as well, but mostly fine across the rest of Iberia, Madeira and the Canary Islands. And through the next few days it stays mostly fine and settled and very warm.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
The cost of parking, it's increased by, wait for it, 500%.
And they've done that overnight without consultation, right?
Yeah.
So it now costs £4.85 an hour, right? And what's that going to do? It's going to stop people visiting. And it's not easy to get around York, I have to say. One road in, one road out type thing. Congestion around the place. Yes, there's car parking spaces, but goodness me, I mean, this is obviously very, very controversial, and these are the sort of taxes, indirect taxes, that come on all of us. It's now going to cost us so much money just to get there, just to see there. Tell us more.
That's right, Eamon, and the City of York Council have introduced this to try and reduce congestion, to try and get more people on buses, more people cycling to go shopping. But of course, that infrastructure hasn't been put in place. There's not been extra buses put on. There's not been extra bike racks for people to park. And certainly when you're doing a shop, a lot of the shops here are greengrocers, butchers. How are you going to carry all that on a bike? I'd like to introduce you to Karen now. She's just come to pay for parking, expecting that it was going to be 80p. How do you feel when you've just seen this price rise today?
I am really annoyed. I've come out with enough money to pay basically for 2 hours. I'm having my hair done, which then, knowing now that this is, say, triple what it would have been, then my online payment isn't working. So I'm effectively not able to pay, which is really, really, really annoying.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Right, it's 7:46. Let's have a look through the papers with Claire Muldoon and Christo Fufas. And Claire, let's start with the Mail on Sunday, should we? Looking at Sarah Ferguson.
I mean,
Really? Can this woman just not go away and just stay away and get locked in a cupboard with her ex-husband and just stay away from everything? Apparently not.
Get locked away with Budgie the helicopter.
Well, that's part of the children's book, isn't it? So we had this story with Mandelson only, 10 days ago?
Yeah.
And he lost his job because of it. And now she's came back. This is a big scoop from the Mail. She sent emails to the paedophile child abuser Jeffrey Epstein. March the 7th, 2011, Fergie's grovelling apology and promised to cut all ties with paedophile Epstein. That was to the press, to the royal family and to the general public. A month later, more or less, 6 weeks later, April the 26th of that same year, 2011, in gushing email to Shame Tycoon, she confesses, "I only said sorry to save my book deals." And then we had her and Andrew turn up at Westminster Cathedral, the head of the Catholic Church of England and Wales, for the funeral of Princess Michael of Kent on, was it Tuesday or Wednesday?
It wasn't Princess Michael, it was the
Duchess of Kent, sorry, on Wednesday. Yeah. And they were laughing and no, just go away, please, just go away. This is public purse money. We've paid for you. You've brought nothing but disregard, disrespect to the royal family. You're a laughingstock. Please just go away.
Just because we really do need to say that the response from her people is that the email, the gushing email, was sent in the context of advice that she was given to try to assuage Epstein and his threats.
Because she reckons that he was threatening to sue her.
Yeah,
for calling him a paedophile.
But she said that she didn't use the P word. You know, she made so many assertions to that point, and she was already, she made the point she didn't want to hurt Andrew
the point
one
is
more
that
time.
Both Sarah and her husband, Prince Andrew, are just so mired by all of this stuff that they are an embarrassment.
And I think, and also I think the story is here that they had both basically remained in contact after, as did Mandelson, after these revelations came out, and that's the problem. That is the problem here, and I don't think this is ever going to not follow them around.
All right, Christo, let's have a look at the Sunday Telegraph, should we? Because what's this about private schools getting a kicking again?
Well, is there a Labour deputy leadership contest going on? I think you'll find that there is, because Bridget Phillipson, who, of course, the Education Secretary, I use that term loosely, private schools now being charged up to, or will be charged up to 3 times more for Ofsted inspections, and this is what is being called a fresh raid on the independent sector. Now, of course, the reason I mentioned the deputy leadership, is because, of course, this will be very, very popular with those on the left of the party, which is probably everyone who sits in the back benches, and so she's going to axe these subsidies for independent schools in a move that will prompt more accusations that she is waging a class war. And I agree with those accusations. The thing is that this is student politics. If you are bringing in a policy that is not solving a problem, because you'll also notice that in this policy, when it came to the VAT raid on private schools, they've soon dropped this idea that they're going to get all of these extra teachers as a result of this.
They've not done anything with that money.
And also, it was going to take years.
That money was earmarked. She said it herself, that money was earmarked. The VAT on private schooling would go to the state sector to buffer that, to make them have more teachers is what they needed.
And if that was the case, then what they should have done was said, right, we're going to bring this in 5 years, we're going to increase funding to the state sector, and we're going to pay for it with the VAT, because then they would have had the resources in the state sector before they did this VAT rate. But they haven't done that.
They've never liked private schools, and they're having a go now.
It's absolutely that, but it's also, it goes to the core, I think, of what we should be as British people, and that's aspirational. And I didn't go to private school, but I absolutely respect a parent's right to send their children to private school, to take the burden off the state. They still pay taxes to the state. And what they're saying is, we are going to punish you for that aspiration. And they're punishing private schools, which are closing as a result of this. Private school teachers are losing their jobs. I just think it's student ideological
Bridget
politics.
Phillipson was on Camilla Tominey's show with Andrew Pearce a couple of weeks ago, and I was actually in the studio watching it, being there as part of the panel, and she prevaricated. She said, you know, we've got these educational czars now coming on. We know that tech is bad in schools. We're going to do this, that, and the next. She did not address the fact that 7 minutes out of every 30 minutes in class is dealt with disruptive pupils. She didn't address that. She actually said that those private schools that were closing down had money issues anyway and would have closed down regardless of the VAT.
It's awful. Yeah. It's awful.
All right, you two, thank you very much indeed. We're going to speak to you in the next hour, of course. We'll look forward to that.
Right now, though, let's catch up with the Wegger. Yes, Tom Morgan.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Vox Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Today is going to be quite a bit colder than it was yesterday, but also brighter. There'll be some sunny spells, but also some heavy blustery showers in places, particularly focused across northern parts of Scotland, where they'll be quite frequent at times through the course of today. Some hail, some thunder mixed in there as well. Some showers also pushing down in across Northern Ireland, running down the Irish Sea into West Wales and South West England, and also affecting some North Sea coastal regions too. But many inland areas, particularly in the south, turning dry, and there will be a good deal of sunshine. So despite temperatures down on recent days, it might not feel too bad if you are in any shelter from that breeze, but overall quite a bit cooler with temperatures widely below average for the time of year. And where you're exposed to that strong northerly breeze across northern Scotland in particular, well, here it won't feel much more than about 3 or 4 degrees above freezing. So quite a cold feeling day to come here, and showers continuing through this evening and overnight. A few showers also for Northern Ireland and Northern England, but many inland areas turning dry to end the day, so there will be some sunny spells and actually a fine evening to come. So plenty of late sunshine across central and southern parts of England to end the weekend, and those clear skies persisting as we go through this evening and overnight. So temperatures really taking quite a nosedive, and we will have a cold night on the way to come. Some showers will continue in coastal regions, mainly in northeastern parts of Scotland, but also some drifting down across eastern parts of East Anglia as well. So temperatures widely falling into single figures tonight, and in some rural areas we're likely to see a grass frost and potentially temperatures falling down to freezing in the most prone spots. It does mean, though, underneath those clear skies, that it should be a much brighter start to the day on Monday. Plenty of sunshine and blue skies through most of the day for a good chunk of the UK. Just 1 or 2 showers, mainly for Kent and Sussex. A few showers and more cloud coming into parts of Scotland as well. But otherwise, plenty of sunshine for many of us. And despite it being still quite cool for the time of year, the winds will be a bit lighter, so it won't feel quite so cold.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Vox Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I think for far too long in this country, millions of people felt as though they weren't represented at all by the establishment media.
GB News was needed because there literally was no other voice. Everyone was saying the same thing.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first. GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
But journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
Charlie Peters, he gave a voice to the victims of grooming gangs, and now, of course, it's led to a national inquiry.
GB News exists to make sure those concerns are put forward and people feel as though what they want to ask is put to those in power.
We don't take orders from anyone. We ask the questions our viewers and listeners want answering.
I know what's actually being discussed by my family and my friends. Us ordinary, hard-working British people have had enough. We've had enough.
They're fed up with the same old establishment nonsense.
Everything that we do is opening up conversations that others are afraid to go at. Why are you illegally bringing people into Britain?
That is our job. Our job is to get to the truth.
If it's important to you watching or listening at home, then it's important to us as well.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Good morning. The Prime Minister is set to recognise a Palestinian state.
Yes, that announcement expected later today after the government, of course, made a promise to make that move unless Israel met certain conditions.
However, critics are hitting out at that, including Nigel Farage, who believes the Palestinian state, at the moment at least, can't be separated from Hamas.
Royal revelations the Duchess of York will not be wanting to read about this morning. She's facing fresh scrutiny after leaked emails have revealed that she privately, to Jeffrey Epstein, described him as a steadfast, generous and supreme friend.
RAF Typhoons join the NATO air defence mission following Russian incursions into European airspace.
And in Arizona, later today, thousands are going to gather for Charlie Kirk's memorial, with President Trump, Vice President Vance and top US officials set to be in attendance.
And something to smile about this morning as the King meets the world's oldest person.
And now, as more than 40% of adults here in the UK are single, a number that has surged over the past 30 years, we're asking, are we a nation of sad old singletons?
And the wannabe stars hitting the dance floor for the latest series of Strictly. We'll bring you the highs and lows from last night's show later on.
Manchester United have liftoff after beating Chelsea in torrential rain at Old Trafford. Elsewhere in the Premier League, pressure is building on West Ham manager Graham Potter. And at the World Athletics Championships, Team GB's Katarina Johnson-Thompson shares bronze in the heptathlon.
Were you kept awake by the wind and the rain last night? Well, dry weather is on the way. I'll have all the details coming up.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast. Talking of the rain, which was in the match yesterday, it reminded me of there's apparently a review of a play somewhere in the West End of London where they have masses of rain falling on the actors. Everybody gets completely soaked, yeah. And then there's always the problem of how you dry up the stage for the next scene. But I remember watching Tommy Steele in Singing in the Rain, the musical, where he did exactly that, got totally drenched in that wonderful scene. 2 minutes later, stage totally dry, him totally dry in a completely different outfit.
Really?
Always wondered how he did. Well, I asked him later how he did that, and he had a booth that he went in, which just blew him dry, literally blew him dry, and then a load of stagehands sort of just dressed him in dry gear, and they did the same with the stage. It must have been incredible to see backstage, but on stage it was brilliant.
It's always very clever when if you go to the theatre, not that I do it very often, but I mean, it's sets and all that. It's an incredible skill, the way they sort of
they might have moved
about
the set, I suppose, mightn't they?
Maybe.
Revolving set.
Or it just lifted slightly.
Yeah. It was that wonderful scene where, he did all the singing and stuff, and then other scenes where he walked up the wall. You know, the amazing thing that they can do. Fred Astaire used to do it. You move along so fast, you can then walk up the wall and then you do a backflip. He did a lot of that. It was very clever.
All the time.
You do? You do?
Yeah, why not? It's something to do on a Friday afternoon, isn't it?
Talking of the rain, AFC had their game abandoned yesterday. They were 4-0 up after 60 minutes. So that means the game is likely going to have to be replayed.
They stopped because of rain, but they were 4-0 up.
4-0 up, yeah.
Do both sides have to agree that?
No, it's decided by a higher authority.
Where were they playing? Were they playing in
Fylde? Yeah.
Wow. Rain must have been
that's
bad.
in the East. What division is that? That's in the Vanarama North division.
I've not even heard of the Vanarama North division, but Fylde, good on you. But heck,
lovely area.
Of course it is. It's in the northwest.
But it's because
the northwest.
So much rain. It's probably lovely and green.
Down Blackpool way. Now, anyway, look, on to politics. Keir Starmer's preparing to officially recognise the state of Palestine this afternoon.
Well, yeah, questions have been raised, of course, about the timing. Why the Prime Minister waited until President Trump had gone back to America, for instance, to make the announcement.
The Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, has accused the government of rewarding terror with the move. I mean, that's a message we've heard before, actually, including from some of the families of hostages involved in all of this.
So, former political advisor Charlie Rowley joins us now. You can understand why some people would see it that way, that this is rewarding Hamas.
Absolutely, and that's why there'll be so many people that are against this move, that think it is totally the wrong time to do what the Prime Minister is set to announce, which is Palestinian statehood. And I think it will be a worry, when the UK, in previous conflicts, for example, has intervened in Afghanistan, thus withdrew, and now the Taliban are in control of Afghanistan again. The idea that the Prime Minister is saying we will recognise a Palestinian state, but Hamas will have no part to play, there's absolutely no guarantee.
Well, he's got no control on that at all.
No control whatsoever. Until Hamas are eradicated, who are a brutal terrorist organisation that committed terrible atrocities on the 7th of October, who operate in a way which is in local schools, hospitals, underground. That is why Israel have taken the military might that they have, even though there are questions, I think, for Israel to answer about the proportionality of the conflict, because there are thousands of innocent civilians, as there always are in conflicts, that seem to have lost their lives. So there is a question for Israel, but the premise of getting rid of Hamas, I think, is the pertinent one, which should be pursued.
So why wouldn't the Prime Minister... Because the idea of a Palestinian state, a two-state solution, has been around for a long time, and an awful lot of people support it. why not say we will recognise a Palestinian state if the hostages are released and if Hamas is no longer in power? It's two simple caveats to put in there.
Totally, and that should have been the message. You know, the only way, it seems to me now, that the conflict can come to an end is if Hamas do just release the hostages, providing that they're still alive. I mean, that is the caveat in itself.
Well, no, there are 48 hostages, and they believe only 20 of those are alive now.
And I think, you know, obviously, you know, that would be awful. But you know, the resolution and the conclusion of, you know, either releasing the hostages or making it clear, you know, what has happened to those for the sake of the families to bring the conflict to an end. That is all that needs to happen. Now, of course, if Israel then continue its bombing, then of course the focus will be on Israel. But the reality is the conflict can come to an end. The longer it goes on...
How can the conflict come to an end? I can't see how.
Well, I think certainly if the hostages are released and Hamas are removed from the part in which they control, which is Gaza. Palestine itself is run by a separate authority, the Palestinian Authority.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Hamas that operate on the Gaza Strip, which is a brutal organisation, and what we've seen...
But where are they going to go? Well, I mean, they do have friends, but not many.
No, and that's why it requires a whole international effort to put pressure on the right people, which is Hamas, not Israel, at this stage. But also that's why it requires people like Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, all people in the Middle East to play their part in making sure that actually there can be peace and stability of a two-state solution in the long term, but not at this moment in time where you have such a brutal organisation operating in the Gaza Strip.
I mean, this has been welcomed by Mahmoud Abbas of the Palestinian Authority. Of course, they're not run. They don't run Gaza at the moment. They run the other piece, the West Bank.
Yes.
Right. But not the. It's the West Bank, isn't it?
Yes.
Anyway, but it's. But the point is, even this doesn't. It doesn't seem to be overly specific on how what they're recognising works with what is a currently split state, even if you recognise it.
Exactly, and that's the fundamental point. You know, Hamas took control from the Palestinian Authority to control Gaza in the first place. So the idea, if you then go and recognise Palestine as a state, but you know, with this language that Hamas shouldn't be involved and they wouldn't be involved, Hamas could quite easily be part of running that state, just as they have taken away power from the Palestinian Authority to operate in Gaza. So it is effectively, in my view, and I think the view of many people, a complete non-starter until you have those hostages released, which is what Israel will then say once those hostages are released. That's when the conflict will come to an end on their part, and security guarantees are ensured. Because what will happen is once you give power to the terrorists, when you give power to the perpetrators, Hamas in this case, just like the Taliban in Afghanistan, just like the lack of intervention from the West when it was dealing with Syria, you allow our opponents to flex their muscles. That's why the second story you're talking about, Russia and them going into Estonian airspace, just as they did with Poland, Russia will flex its muscles because of the weakness of the West to do what it says it's going to do. So the West has to be absolutely united in condemning Hamas, making sure that they are wiped out, that those hostages are released, that the conflict comes to an end, to enable a two-state solution in the long term, but certainly not at this moment in time, which is why a lot of people will be scratching their heads, thinking, why on earth does this Prime Minister think he's got any authority at all to bring about this recognition of a state when this conflict is ongoing?
OK. Charlie, thank you very much indeed.
And so you wonder where it's all going to end, don't you? Shall we catch up while we've got the time? Let's just catch up with the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Today is going to be quite a bit colder than it was yesterday, but also brighter. There'll be some sunny spells, but also some heavy blustery showers in places, particularly focused across northern parts of Scotland, where they'll be quite frequent at times through the course of today. Some hail, some thunder mixed in there as well. Some showers also pushing down in across Northern Ireland, running down the Irish Sea into West Wales and South West England, and also affecting some North Sea coastal regions too. But many inland areas, particularly in the south, turning dry, and there will be a good deal of sunshine. So despite temperatures down on recent days, it might not feel too bad if you are in any shelter from that breeze, but overall quite a bit cooler with temperatures widely below average for the time of year. And where you're exposed to that strong northerly breeze across northern Scotland in particular, well, here it won't feel much more than about 3 or 4 degrees above freezing. So quite a cold feeling day to come here, and showers continuing through this evening and overnight. A few showers also for Northern Ireland and Northern England, but many inland areas turning dry to end the day, so there will be some sunny spells and actually a fine evening to come. So plenty of late sunshine across central and southern parts of England to end the weekend. And those clear skies persisting as we go through this evening and overnight. So temperatures really taking quite a nosedive, and we will have a cold night on the way to come. Some showers will continue in coastal regions, mainly in northeastern parts of Scotland, but also some drifting down across eastern parts of East Anglia as well. So temperatures widely falling into single figures tonight, and in some rural areas we're likely to see a grass frost and potentially temperatures falling down to freezing in the most prone spots. It does mean, though, underneath those clear skies, that it should be a much brighter start to the day on Monday. Plenty of sunshine and blue skies through most of the day for a good chunk of the UK. Just 1 or 2 showers, mainly for Kent and Sussex. A few showers and more cloud coming into parts of Scotland as well. But otherwise, plenty of sunshine for many of us. And despite it being still quite cool for the time of year, the winds will be a bit lighter, so it won't feel quite so cold.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Right, time for the Great British Giveaway now. There's still plenty of time for you to become our biggest winner to date. You get a brand new 4-berth motorhome and 30 grand in tax-free cash. It's all worth over 104,000. Here's how you enter.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people, comes with integrated bathroom and kitchen areas, has plenty of storage and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, taking the total prize value of this Great British Giveaway over a whopping £104,000. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Blinds close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
By the way, do stick with us. Because still to come,
I was just begging.
Yes,
I was begging.
He reckons he's in.
I need a new suit.
Yeah.
I'm just asking people if they want to buy me one.
It's hardly threadbare.
It's all full of buttons and there's holes in the pockets and all that stuff. I can't just afford a new suit at the minute.
Buttons and sew a whole new set of buttons on.
Look at that.
Or get hold of the tailor who made it and get them to give you some buttons.
So I need a new suit. There's meant to be 4 on there.
It's such a shame.
We'll
just have to work a few more days here. That'll pay for it. Anyway, do stay with us. Because guess how many people in Britain are single? You'll have to stay tuned to find out.
Oh, right.
It's quite a complicated answer, actually, because are they choosing to be single, or have they ended up being single, and how old are they anyway?
Lonely. Yes, we'll tell you more in a minute.
West Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday from 8 p.m.
I thought you'd set up a new version of Pimlico Plumbers in London.
Yeah, my family have set up a company called We Fix London, but we started planning that, 2 years before Labour got in. If we'd known Labour was getting in, we wouldn't have planned it. So obviously we've got to comply with the tax regulations, but anybody with any sense would agree with what I'm saying. The taxes are too high in the UK for wealthy people. Wealthy people can go and work anywhere in the world and be financially a lot better off.
And we had a non-dom regime that was basically stable for 200 years. It's only recently that it's been changed. And we're changing it and making it harder, just as other countries are making it easier. So you can go to Italy and you can negotiate an amount that you will pay. Portugal's been welcoming people. Malta's been welcoming people. All over the world, countries are saying, please come and bring your money. And the UK is saying, we're going to take all your money. We don't want you anymore.
That's right. Look, they're all encouraging sort of UK business people to come there, and it's working. If you become a tax exile in Italy, you pay 200 grand for the year. You don't have to pay no more. But the real problem is we're wasting their money, and they should be encouraging entrepreneurs to be staying. I think our biggest export at the moment is wealthy people.
So you're a businessman, you know how to do things and make a profit. If you're advising the Chancellor on how to get the money the country needs to pay for the public services, what would you be saying? Because at the moment, the tax revenues don't meet our expenditure. There is a gap. Something needs to give.
Resign.
All right, but that's not the answer.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel. Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts tomorrow at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Oh, you're in trouble, and we haven't even started
really?
the debate yet. Yeah, we're talking about single people. Charlie says, why is the first word that comes out of Stephen's mouth lonely when he's talking about single
I was just singing that song. It's just that song. You know.
And Debbie says, Stephen, I'm single and I'm not lonely. Pack it in.
No, I don't. I'm not saying if you're single, you're lonely. I was saying early on, I was single for a very long time, very happy with it, until I got swept off my feet.
But there is a crisis apparently unfolding behind closed doors, because apparently more than 40% of adults in the UK are single. And that's a number that has really, really grown over the last 30 years.
Right, well, international relationship coach Lauren Crenn warns that the roots of this problem stretch back to childhood, and if left unaddressed, Britain risks producing generations unable to form deep, lasting love.
Yeah, and if that's true, that really is a problem. Have we become a nation of singletons, and could it get worse?
Well, let's talk to Lauren Crenn himself and relationships experts Nadia Essex. Good to see you both. Lauren, explain what you mean by your theory.
Many people say they're looking for love, but what they're really looking for is an escape from their childhood wounds. Why do so many people, the moment things get serious, the moment things get real, they run away? The very thing that's needed for the love and intimacy, the desire, they run away from. So a lot of people say they look for love, but really what they're looking for is an escape. And until we heal these childhood wounds, the mother and father wounds, we have no chance at truly finding the love we desire.
Is that the sort of idea of saying if you don't love yourself, then nobody else can love you?
It applies to that because we need to first look within. I mean, one can swipe for hours on a dating app, but if they don't know who they are, they don't know what they want, and they're not ready for true emotional closeness and vulnerability, then they're only going to date the same challenging dynamic again and again.
Ooh, that's interesting. Nadia, do you agree with it?
Very interesting, and I could honestly listen to him talk all day, I'm sure, but in my opinion, it's just not that deep. I just think that you've got to kiss a lot of frogs before you find your prince, and people are out there, they're still on dating apps, they're still joining dating apps. I'm an ambassador of a new dating app that is called Like the Sound of You, so it's all no pictures, just voices. And so you have to choose somebody based on their voice and their voice notes, and people are joining in droves. So people are still very much looking for love, and I think it's just about finding the right person. I don't know if it's so deep as you have childhood wounds that you need to heal before you can find love. I just think some people aren't compatible.
Yeah, that's what worries me about your idea, Lauren, is that you're saying we're all sort of slightly damaged from our childhoods, and until we can resolve those issues, we can't expect a proper relationship.
In a way, yes, but it's not that pessimistic. There is an opportunity for growth and evolution. Because, for instance, if our mother or father was inconsistent, then it will feel familiar to us to be in such a relationship dynamic. We might feel attracted to someone in a push-pull dynamic. They're with one foot in the relationship, with one foot out. Until we look at the deeper pattern and we work through that, it's just not going to work. We're just not going to have the experience that we deep down desire. But if we do that inner emotional healing work, then actually we can create the relationship we desire, and it becomes so much easier to find the right person because we can discern, we can see, is this an old painful dynamic or is this actually what I truly desire?
You see, it's interesting, that, Nadia, isn't it? I mean, it's certainly interesting, but I wonder, within this 40% of people in Britain being single figure that we've got, how many are looking for love and how many just don't want it?
Well, I mean, I think, to be honest, I think everybody wants love. I think if people are saying they don't want love, they're fibbing, because love is fantastic. It makes you feel amazing, because love itself is when you walking down the street and the birds are singing a little bit brighter and you've got your rose tinted glasses and everything's wonderful. Love is an amazing thing. If people are choosing not to get into a relationship, that's different. And fundamentally, I think what Lauren is saying is, it does make sense, but in a realistic world, not everybody's ready to heal their childhood trauma, because that involves lots and lots and lots of deep, very, very heavy, very, very long therapy that can take them from where they are to a whole different person. And relationships with damaged people can still work. They might not be constructive and they might not be what I want for my life, but there's plenty of people that have been married for many, many, many years and they just bicker all the time.
Yeah, but they seem to love doing it, don't they? It's sort of what bonds them together. This is such an amazing subject, and you're both such great speakers on it. And, of course, we've run out of time. But thank you so much for giving us plenty of food for thought. Lauren and Nadia, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's lots to think about, isn't there? Anyway.
Did the birds sing sweeter for you? But they do.
They do. Yeah. Since I got married, I have a completely different outlook on life.
I think it's wonderful to be in love.
Yeah.
You don't have to be.
But, of course, love is not all about birds and sunshine and roses, is it? It also requires work, and you've got to be with someone who you can, fall out with on occasion, but work through it and stay and grow stronger as a result. It's not all like a Hollywood movie.
Your thoughts on love, please.
Anyway, and your thoughts as well on Katarina Johnson-Thompson, who's done very well at the World Championships. Aidan's got all the details in a minute.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts tomorrow at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there short and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Yes, we have noticed when our last guest looked so like Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Everybody's saying so.
Yeah, it's remarkable. Apparently he gets stopped and he asks for pictures all the time because people think it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah, not surprising.
It's incredible. Quite a look. A looky-likey.
Yes, indeed.
I don't know what Aidan McGee's a looky-likey for. What are you looky-likey for?
Who did I get back in the day? When I was a kid, I used to get... Do you remember the bloke who was in Grange Hill? What was his name?
Zammo?
Not Zammo, no. He played the part of Sean Maguire. Sean Maguire.
you saying?
Sean Maguire. When I was a kid. When I was a kid.
I can see that a little bit.
When I was a kid, yeah. Can we get on to football?
Yes,
we'll have
to.
We must get on to football.
No, look.
See, we've got Arsenal Man City coming up, haven't we?
We have.
Arsenal have had a bit more recovery time.
They have. It's quite important in these games, you know. 4:30 today is the kick-off at the Emirates, a key match, a staging post potentially in the title race, although it's early in the season, of course. But yeah, it seems a little bit unfair that Manchester City, and they haven't made a big deal of it, and to be fair, but 66 hours ago they finished against Napoli in the Champions League. Big game. Yeah, right, they were playing against 10 men, but the schedulers weren't to know that. Arsenal had finished their game in the Champions League 2 days before. Yes, they did have to travel to Spain, but suddenly today, City have to travel to London to face Arsenal. It's a later kick-off at 4:30. And Pep Guardiola, the City coach, has always felt, and this is somebody who's looked at it through the prism of winning European tournaments with a Spanish side. He's always felt that the English clubs, the Premier League clubs, have a bit of a disadvantage in Europe because of the scheduling. So I hope it doesn't make for a lesser game in terms of quality. But if you look at this game historically over the last few years, Arsenal have held sway. I don't think City have won against them since 2020 or 2023 rather. But that's going to be a big game this afternoon. We had Manchester United winning yesterday. Of course, somebody who needed a bit of luck was Ruben Amorim, and he certainly got it in the first 5 minutes when Chelsea had their goalkeeper sent off. And I say that's luck because, all right, it's not luck in its purest form, but you can't legislate for an opposing player doing something reckless like the Chelsea goalkeeper did in the first 5 minutes. And in the Premier League these days, and you're up against 10 men, it's a little bit easier when you've got 85 minutes against that. So it's a much-needed win yesterday. We heard how the previous day he was talking about how even direction from the Pope wouldn't make him change his formation. No. Well, he kept faith with his formation yesterday, and it paid off. We had some fantastic games yesterday. You were asking about Bournemouth. They're up against Newcastle today, hoping to continue a decent run of form. But it was a great day.
Up against Newcastle. That sounds sort of serious.
Yeah, well, they're all serious.
They're
all serious. You know, just one place in the Premier League when you're finishing later on. If you win on the last day of the season, suddenly you go from, say, 14th to 12th. That can be worth about £12 million. That's just and that can be goal difference. So yes, it's extremely serious. There's no doubt about that. That's because it's called the Money League for a reason.
Can we talk about KJT?
Katarina Johnson-Thompson. You left me to say, didn't you?
I do. Do you know what? I find it
too much.
It is too much.
Too long a surname.
I find it a very hard name to say.
Well, look, she had a very hard race yesterday, and she ended up having to share bronze. She was very, very happy to do that, but this was extraordinary. It's unprecedented, particularly at this level. She was up against Talia Brooks, and they both finished, this is 7 events, on 6,581 points. That's quite extraordinary. I've never seen that before. And it's the 4th time she's medalled at this level, KJT. She wasn't actually certain at the end. She saw the scoreboard. There was no confirmation at that point. Others were congratulating her. I don't think she realised that the scoreboard at that stage represented confirmation that she shared a bronze. I mean, I've never actually heard of anyone sharing a medal before. As in two competitors, obviously you get it when it's a relay team or something like that, but that's different. You're on the same side. But extraordinary stuff yesterday.
Exactly the same time.
Yes, exactly.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. She had to beat her by 6 seconds. No, it's the points. I think it was the
points.
It was equal.
Right, yeah.
But
6 seconds is a lot of.
She said
a lot of ground in 6 seconds.
Oh, you can, yeah. You see me rushing around the newsroom here in the morning. But I should say as well that Team GB are 22nd in the medal table. I think that's slightly skewed because I think there are some events to come that GB are still quite strong at. But USA leading the way, and another successful events for Team GB if they can get a few medals over the line. In the bag, sorry.
In the bag, yeah. We've got the Grand Prix.
Yeah,
I mean, Lando Norris. Yeah. He's the great British hope that gets overlooked somehow.
I completely agree with you. I mean, look, yesterday he missed a chance because, I mean, it was a chaotic race yesterday. This is the qualifying for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix this afternoon. 6 crashes in total, and that's no more than a quarter of the field of drivers. And look, there are lots of walls, there are lots of bends, there are lots of hairpins, lots of goodness knows what else, and it means that the conditions are treacherous, especially with rain, and that's what led to all the crashes. Now, what this means is that there's this fascinating race going on between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, but today they're starting on 7th and 9th on the grid, which is going to make it extremely difficult for either of them to win from that position. Now, it's not impossible, it's been done before. Max Verstappen is on pole, but I think this is going to favour Piastri because if we, as expected, neither of them win, it means it's another week gone towards the conclusion, which means that will suit Piastri because it's just, I hope it doesn't work out that way. It'd be great to see a British winner. I think it'd be away from Lewis Hamilton, it'll be the first British winner, I think, since 2008 and Jenson Button.
Oh, my goodness.
But there's still a way to go yet. There's still a fair bit to go, but it should be exciting in action this afternoon.
Good. Be a good watch, that.
Yep.
Lovely. Aidan, thank you very much indeed. And you.
Have a good weekend. Right, shall we catch... I was going to say, should we catch up on the weather, but it's not weather time.
No, it's not.
No. In fact, what we're going to do is be looking through the papers any second now. On the theme of love, how do you get another date?
Ask them.
Yeah, well, no, you do it with apps and everything now. Anyway, we're going to be telling how scientists have found out. If you're in search of some holiday sun, though, first, here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello. Whilst it's turning colder in the UK, plenty of warmth remains across many parts of the Mediterranean. Hot and sunny conditions across most of Greece and Turkey through the next couple of days, but much more unsettled across the central and western Med, particularly parts of Italy, and in the north we could see some flooding over the next couple of days. Showers for northern parts of Spain and Portugal perhaps as well, but mostly fine across the rest of Iberia, Madeira and the Canary Islands. And through the next few days it stays mostly fine and settled and very warm.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
Bev, I'm so sad that you're leaving Britain, but so excited that you're going to go and conquer the United States of America.
Congratulations on this fantastic posting, and I hope you have a fantastic time on your big political adventure in Washington, D.C.
And I just know this is your time, this is your place, America is your place. You are going to shine.
Yeah, Bev, you are going to absolutely smash it. America, be ready for Bev Turner.
I'm actually not even going to say good luck. You don't need it. You're going to bring Washington down like a storm, bringing us the inside track of everything.
It's the reconquest of America. You are going where Columbus went before, and remember that the English are best.
We're really, really excited about GB News America, and you are the perfect person to be fronting it. We can't wait to watch you, although it's going to be so hard not seeing you in the studio.
Yeah, we're going to miss you hugely, Bev. We know you are absolutely going to smash it. You will be. You're going to have them on the run.
Good luck to you. You won't need it because you're a legend. We saw that at Turnberry, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in just a few weeks. Love ya. Wow.
Well, it's been a ball, Bev. Nobody could say it's been dull, eventful, unpredictable, erratic. We've not always seen eye to eye, but it has been a great experience for me, and my loss is America's gain. So the very best of luck to you.
That was quite emotional. I got quite tearful then.
Well, the people are very fond of you, but great outpouring of love and affection and admiration for what you're going to do.
And I'm going to, honestly, I'm not leaving GB News. No. Let's just be clear. I am going to be hosting a show Monday to Thursday. You're going to be seeing me all over every show. Hopefully, I'll be popping up here and there. I'll do some exclusive bits for Andrew here. I'll send in.
You'd say that.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning again.
That's very chill.
8:39.
It's like an advert for Cadbury's Caramel.
Oh, yes. But, well, why not? Because we're joined by broadcaster Claire Muldoon and broadcaster Christo Fufas, who've been looking through the papers. And what have you come up with?
Right, we were talking about Bridget Phillips and the Education Secretary earlier in another segment.
Yes.
And we were saying, well, I was saying how deplorable she is at her job, and you know, she was moving money from private schools to state schools, and I don't think that's even happened. In fact, it hasn't. And then the Sunday Times today has got a really interesting thread here. We know that the schools in England and Wales have just gone back, and now a lot of university students are going up to university for the first time in the next couple of weeks. But this really struck me, actually. Sixth forms fast becoming modern language deserts. A lack of demand and shortage of teachers, right, means pupils who want to take French, Spanish or German at A-level often have to travel miles and hours to actually study it, because a third of England's state schools don't offer it at sixth form, modern languages. Now, is that because of things like the Rosetta Stone or Duolingo, people picking up the lingo easier now? Or is it the issue that of globalisation, perhaps, because everything has become too homogenised, too sanitised and too the same?
I think it's easier than that. It's Google Translate. It's Google Translate. I just don't think that people need it anymore.
Oh, they do, Crystal.
Well, I think that's their view.
The Times actually bring an interesting fact into it as well. They say that because in 2004 or something like that, the government said it was now no longer a necessity for you to take a modern language up to GCSE. It's O levels in Scotland and Northern Ireland. And I think that's such a tragedy.
I do.
And I think a lot of children actually learned about English grammar through modern languages grammar.
I tell you what I think they should do, actually, though, is sixth form. Sixth form is, well, I mean, it would be more advanced, but secondary school is too late. They should teach children languages from day dot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's when they can absorb it more easily.
It wouldn't be a problem. They'd just soak it up.
It's such a skill.
Hated modern languages.
But it's such a skill.
I loathe them. I have to give them up.
From day one, when you were little, you wouldn't have even
whenever I go to Greece and people ask me if I speak Greek, and I don't speak Greek.
You don't?
They look at me like my parents abused me, because they literally are horrified.
Why didn't they teach?
Because my mum my mum was never of that mindset. She is now. My niece, her granddaughter, speaks Greek, Lithuanian, everything. But my mum was worried that I wouldn't be as good at learning and reading and writing English if they also introduced Greek in. Now we know a bit better.
We know it's actually
it's different.
Can learn another language.
They're sponges.
Particularly if you're gifted, if you are gifted with one parent at least who speaks a different language. I know families where they speak all sorts of languages.
Accents as well. They've got the proper dialect.
Yeah.
You know, they're so lucky.
I would.
It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to have.
It's one of my. Well, it's not a regret, because it was never an option for me. I mean, I've got two English parents. But it would have been nice. I just think it's lovely when you do meet these kids who are bilingual. I just think it's an incredible
I went to school with a girl called Michelle who had a French mum, and she sailed through O-level French. She sailed through A-level French. And we all went, oh, that's cheating because you've got a mum who speaks French. But the fact is, she could just click into French and click into English. It's such a gift.
Well, my partner speaks 5 languages, which actually takes us nicely to the story
I hope
about...
one of them is a language of love.
It is the language of love.
But hold on, we're going to come back to you two in just a sec, because we just want to... because the Lib Dem conference underway this weekend, so we want to speak to Luke Taylor, who's the Lib Dem MP for Sutton and Cheam, who joins us now. Good morning to you. It's nice to see you. I wonder...
Morning.
What are you hoping to come away from at the end of conference from this? Because the Lib Dems are, you know, with all due respect, getting a little bit lost in all the political noise at the moment.
I think you're right. I think Ed Davey's been talking about how we need to rebalance some of the coverage. I think the Liberal Democrats get this opportunity every year. We've got our conference down in Bournemouth, as you said. What we want to get out of it is making it very, very clear that the Liberal Democrats are standing up for that positive, patriotic voice. I think you might have seen Tim Farron doing some brilliant work in the chamber yesterday, talking about kind of what the flag means to us and about how we can be positive and patriotic. And I think the one thing that we want to get out of this weekend is that really solid, positive message. The Lib Dems are here for those who are proud of our country and want to do something positive about it.
Yeah, in fact, yes, you were stressing the patriotism. Was it yesterday or last night when Ed Davey walked in and the whole band struck up? I think we can actually see that now. Oh, there it is. Sadly, we're taking it mute.
Yeah, I think the visual metaphor there was fantastic.
I mean, clearly you have already...
I mean, so the Liberal Democrats on the march there with Ed Davey at the head, showing that we are ready to be that Liberal voice, that we are building on the incredible council election gains that we had back in May. We've got 7 rounds of council elections in a row where we've made gains. We've got 72 Liberal Democrat MPs in Parliament. And I think the visual metaphor was just about right. We were waving our union flags. We were proud of our country, and we're ready for those people who want to come and fix some of the mess that Labour have got us into, and try and undo some of the damage that the Conservatives did before them, with actual, real, tangible policies that make our country a better place.
Forgive me for jumping in. There will be people who look at this, and it's hard to dismiss them, if we're perfectly honest, that now we're in a situation where patriotism has become more important. It's become something which we're seeing up and down the country now, and it seems like the Lib Dems are jumping on that bandwagon rather than this being something that you have always believed in.
It's a really good question. I think what we've seen is some. And I would say it's a misuse of our flag. I think we've always been a patriotic party. I think the challenge is when people wrap themselves up in a flag to disguise some prejudice, disguise some nationalism. Liberal Democrats are in our communities. We're those guys who are fixing the church roof. We're the ones who are doing the litter picking on a Sunday morning. We're out there trying to make our country a better place to live in, but we don't wrap ourselves in the flag. We just get on and do it. It's part of who we are. But what I think we see is there's this worry that people are trying to suggest our flag and our national identity is something different. So what we're seeing now is a little bit of understanding that people do want to see an understanding of what that flag means to them. We are really proud and we are really confident to say that being British, being English, being patriotic means welcoming those who are coming from places that are in terrible, terrible distress. It's about making sure that we can build a better country, not just for ourselves, but for those who need that assistance. And we're proud of that. Now, we would do it quietly in the past, but now we're actually standing up and saying, hey, look, those who wrap themselves in our flag and are, not welcoming of those who need assistance, they don't represent us. But proud patriotists, that's what we are in the Liberal Democrats.
What do you think, as Lib Dems, of Keir Starmer announcing that we are now going to recognise a Palestinian state, and there are even rumours that he may be considering paying an awful lot of money to Palestine in reparations?
It's a really good question. It's really it's something that a lot of people get in touch with me about. Recognising Palestine is the first step on the route to a stable and peaceful Middle Eastern solution. Like, we've got Palestinian people, we've got Israelis who live in fear, and having that two-state recognised means that we've got the chance for peace. We must release the hostages. We must eliminate Hamas. But the only way that Palestinians will have faith that there is a peaceful future for them is to recognise the state of Palestine so that they can work towards peace. And whether we need to invest in that nation building or not, that's a question for the government. But what it will do is it will produce stability. It will reduce the migration that happens out of chaos, out of war. And I think all of us want to see stable and prosperous regions across the world. And I think recognising the state of Palestine is something incredibly brave for the Prime Minister to do. I think it's something we've called for longer than any other party.
Well, except if you were calling for, if you said we will recognise a Palestinian state when the hostages are released and when Hamas has been removed, there might be more support for it. But when you're recognising a Palestinian state which is run by Hamas, which is a terrorist organisation, you've got a problem, haven't you?
I would argue it's not run by Hamas. Hamas are hiding in bunkers. Hamas are cowards. They do not represent the Palestinian people. And I think the actions we're taking here show that. The actions we're taking show that we see a future Palestine that has nothing to do with Hamas. There is no need for Hamas anymore once we've recognised that Palestinian state. We need to support those democratic groups in Palestine to really take advantage of that and bring the peace that everybody wants to see.
All right, Luke Taylor, we appreciate your time down there in sunny... is it Brighton or Bournemouth? I can't remember. Bournemouth. Lovely.
It's Bournemouth. It's Bournemouth this year, yeah. So we've got nice sandy beaches, which is a big upgrade on Brighton last year.
Yeah, lovely. All right, look, good to see you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wonder if they've been sea surfing or something today, because
Yeah.
Davey always likes to drop in the water.
I'm sure he has. Look, let's return to Christo and Claire, and rather than mull over that, I want to just talk about something which is a bit more interesting. Well, no, interesting. But a bit more exciting, which is finding love, because we've been having we're having a love hour.
We are. We're having a love hour because, as you have reported on with your guests, that there was a real love crisis. 40% of UK adults are now single. Well, there is a story that relates to this in the Mail today. If you want another date, then if you're a man and you're dating a woman, you have to text her the next morning. If you text too soon...
Right.
You look a bit desperate, but if you text the next day, she'll see that as sort of confirmation that things went well, but won't be sort of overwhelmed by it. Scientists have actually discovered this answer. If they message immediately, they're judged by women to be too needy. Those who left it a couple of days were seen as indifferent, though, and unreliable.
Yeah, you don't leave it too long.
And I remember when I was dating, there is a bit of a game and a bit of a dance to sort of who texts first, who doesn't. If you text, you know, if I really like someone, I text them up on the way home, and that's bad. You shouldn't do that. According to these scientists, you don't do that.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
No, too desperate. Too desperate. You've got to leave it long enough.
Just to have a little message saying that was...
No, but then you kill the flutter in your stomach if you do that, because the flutter in your stomach is part of the uncertainty, and if you get rid of the uncertainty by texting straight away...
I did that after my first date, and now I'm married. So it worked for me.
It worked for you.
Are there these rules? I don't know. Am I wrong to think that there are these rules?
Judge far too quickly. Why can't we just have some etiquette and some manners, you know? I don't want a formal letter, but thanks very much.
Why not? To be nice.
Well, why, yeah.
But the next day. Right. Don't do it straight away on the way home. Do it the next day. Leave it till the next morning. Then you're building up a bit of anticipation, a bit of mystique. My mother always said to me, there's nothing more attractive than an independent woman. I don't know why she said it to me,
I don't know
but
why
she did.
To you either.
But she did.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know. What would you do? I don't
Well,
know.
hopefully there'll be a lot of messaging this morning from people who have had dates last night then.
Yes, but
So
if they've
get
messaged
on it.
already, you've blown it.
No, still morning time.
Absolutely blown it.
So don't leave it too late.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all you need is for true love and a second date, Claire, is just someone to offer you a ticket to go and see Oasis.
Yeah.
Because you're off to see them soon, aren't you?
I saw them last weekend.
Oh, last weekend?
In Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
I went for 4 nights.
to see
Oasis. I did.
Wow.
Yeah, life is just too damn short, Anne Diamond.
Well, I will agree with you there. If there's an experience worth having, go have it.
Absolutely.
My old boss used to say, never turn down an adventure.
Yeah, it's true.
True. Absolutely true. Well, and it was wonderful.
And it was wonderful.
It was superb.
And it was Mexico City, wasn't it? Which is it's the most amazing place.
How long did it take you to get there?
11 hours to get there, direct.
And you were excited all the way?
Absolutely. Yeah, slept most of the way.
Yeah.
And, you know, because the Mexico City for me was traffic, tequila, tacos, but terrific.
Oh,
absolutely, absolutely. It's a wonderful city. It's so green. You had the altitude, and it was just... honest to goodness me, the architecture, the museums, the culture...
And you haven't yet mentioned the music. I mean, were the lads up to it?
Oh, my goodness me, Anne, they were more than up for it.
What was the scenario? Was it just an ordinary concert hall, or were they open air? Or...
Open air. It was superb. Absolutely. The atmosphere, and you saw them at Wembley,
I saw them at Wembley, and it was, honestly, I was almost emotional, because I think it's all the nostalgia.
Yeah.
It was one of the best gigs I've ever been to in my life.
It's all wrapping up.
And I saw Spice Girls 8 times.
8 times?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen Madonna like 15 times, but Oasis, I have to say, was probably up in the top 3 without a doubt.
No, they were superb.
I saw Barbara Streisand 3 nights in a row.
Oh, well, there we go. We've all got it. Oh, J.K. Rowling today...
J.K. Rowling is for her 60th birthday.
Yes.
Yeah.
She has got Fleetwood Mac reunited, and they're playing at her 60th. So who would you have? You'd have Oasis.
I'd have Oasis.
Who would you have played?
I hate to be a cliché, Kylie or Madonna.
Yeah.
I think I'd get a good show with either of them.
Yeah.
Madonna might be a bit unfriendly and like swear at everyone, but I think Kylie would be an amazing pop princess.
Yeah, I'd get Brian May, Roger Taylor, with Adam Lambert doing
Adam Lambert.
So basically getting Queen back together, what we can at the minute.
I'd have McCartney. No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
really?
There you go. So that's how we'll spend our money, but we can't afford it.
Always love Paul.
None of us are 60 anyway.
Not yet.
No.
Right, here's the weather.
Today's outlook. Cool, calm, and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Today is going to be quite a bit colder than it was yesterday, but also brighter. There'll be some sunny spells, but also some heavy blustery showers in places, particularly focused across northern parts of Scotland, where they'll be quite frequent at times through the course of today. Some hail, some thunder mixed in there as well. Some showers also pushing down in across Northern Ireland, running down the Irish Sea into West Wales and South West England, and also affecting some North Sea coastal regions too. But many inland areas, particularly in the south, turning dry, and there will be a good deal of sunshine. So despite temperatures down on recent days, it might not feel too bad if you are in any shelter from that breeze, but overall quite a bit cooler with temperatures widely below average for the time of year. And where you're exposed to that strong northerly breeze across northern Scotland in particular, well, here it won't feel much more than about 3 or 4 degrees above freezing. So quite a cold feeling day to come here, and showers continuing through this evening and overnight. A few showers also for Northern Ireland and Northern England, but many inland areas turning dry to end the day, so there will be some sunny spells and actually a fine evening to come. So plenty of late sunshine across central and southern parts of England to end the weekend, and those clear skies persisting as we go through this evening and overnight. So temperatures really taking quite a nosedive, and we will have a cold night on the way to come. Some showers will continue in coastal regions, mainly in northeastern parts of Scotland, but also some drifting down across eastern parts of East Anglia as well. So temperatures widely falling into single figures tonight, and in some rural areas we're likely to see a grass frost and potentially temperatures falling down to freezing in the most prone spots. It does mean, though, underneath those clear skies, that it should be a much brighter start to the day on Monday. Plenty of sunshine and blue skies through most of the day for a good chunk of the UK. Just 1 or 2 showers, mainly for Kent and Sussex. A few showers and more cloud coming into parts of Scotland as well. But otherwise, plenty of sunshine for many of us. And despite it being still quite cool for the time of year, the winds will be a bit lighter, so it won't feel quite so cold.
Today's outlook: cool, calm, and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Britain's newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
Good morning, Graham. What's your view on the latest comments about the gender of the next James Bond? Should there be one?
Well, there obviously should be a James Bond, but it should never be a woman. I think this is something that was in the media and the press some years ago that's kind of been dragged up to a degree. It's a nonsense. It was a nonsense when it was first spoken about some years ago, and it's just as big a nonsense now. It needs to be a 6 foot tall, dark-haired, strapping, middle-aged guy. I say middle, I mean talking about 32.
Graham, like,
32 is quite young in my book.
Well, but I mean, look, Graham, what I say is that you know, a lot of these. I mean, I know Amazon, I believe, have bought the rights to James Bond now. I mean, you've seen what they've done with some of their other shows. I'm not so convinced they're not going to go down this super woke, what I would call woke route. Is it? Do they really need to reinvent James Bond though? Because we've had so many iterations of him. They pretty much killed him off in the last movie. Do we need to reinvent the idea of James Bond, or should James Bond just retire? Should we say, actually, do you know what? We've had James Bond for almost 100 years. Actually, should we let this character rest for at least a bit of time, or maybe just retire the character before it gets destroyed by modern reinventions of it?
Well, I think there's always going to be a market. There's always going to be an audience for James Bond if those films are made the correct way. I mean, you've got a perfect blueprint. If you look at the Bond films in the 60s and you follow that as a blueprint, you can't go wrong, because most of them are based on Ian Fleming, and it's the best Bond films are the ones that are based on Fleming's books quite closely.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good morning. The Prime Minister is going to recognise a Palestinian state.
Yes, the announcement's going to be made a bit later today. And, of course, it comes after the government made a promise to make that move unless Israel met certain conditions.
There are plenty of critics, though, including Nigel Farage, who believes the Palestinian state can't be separated at the moment from Hamas.
Royal revelations in today's newspapers. The Duchess of York is facing fresh scrutiny after leaked emails have revealed that she, after Jeffrey Epstein had been convicted, she wrote to him privately describing him as her steadfast, generous and supreme friend.
Now, RAF Typhoon jets have joined NATO air defence missions following Russians' incursions into European airspace.
And in Arizona later today, thousands will gather for Charlie Kirk's memorial, with President Trump, Vice President Vance and top US officials set to be in attendance.
And in one of the loveliest videos of the day, King Charles meets the world's oldest person, 116-year-old Ethel Chatton.
And if you love the dancing and the sequins and all of that, you'll be very pleased to know that Strictly Come Dancing is on its way again. Last night, I think the first night, Stephanie Tetchy will be with us to talk us through it.
Were you kept awake by the wind and the rain last night? Well, dry weather is on the way. I'll have all the details coming up.
It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Ann Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see what Stephanie made of Strictly. I'm not a Strictly fan.
No.
However, did have Kai Widrington on the show a while ago when Angela was in, because that was Angela's dance partner.
Of course, it is Angela's big thing,
It's Angela's big thing. Yeah. And he was such a nice fella, actually, that you just... It made me warm to it a bit more, just because he was sort of really nice and down to earth and...
She was amazing in it, wasn't she? I mean, what... The trouble is, some of these older people, and she is one of the very few in this building that I can call older, but they set the bar so high. I mean, that 116-year-old lady who was chattering away to the king as though he was just her next-door neighbour.
Yeah,
it was
lovely.
lovely. She said to him, I remember you, and you were young, and Carnarvon Castle, and when you were Prince Charles, and you were there with your mum. And all the girls loved you. And she's right. I don't know. I mean, when Prince Charles was Prince Charles, younger, he was followed everywhere with screams of hoarding.
It's weird because I don't think he was a looker then. I think
wasn't. It was the fact that he was a prince.
Yeah, he's grown into his looks.
Yes,
I think the older he gets, the better he looks.
Yes, I think that's very
actually. But no, it was just lovely to see. And the fact he showed her so much respect, which I think is quite right, but it's just a nice thing to see.
And it was lovely, the fact that he put in the time to go and see her on her birthday, just after he'd waved off President Trump. So these things are every bit as important, if not more so.
Talking of waving off President Trump, well, now the Prime Minister's waved him off, he's then decided to announce, but he's going to do it officially this afternoon, that we're recognising a Palestinian state. But he wants Hamas out the way, but that's not a restriction on recognising a Palestinian state.
But does it really matter to the rest of the world that Keir Starmer wants a Palestine state? I just wonder whether it's globally significant.
I don't know. I'll tell you what, Camilla Tominey might know. She's joining us from Westminster ahead of her show at 9:30 this morning. Hi, Camilla. What do you make of it all?
Well, I think it's interesting that regardless of what the world might think of it, the country, as in the UK, isn't particularly supportive. There's a poll by JL Partners that's found that 9 in 10 disagree with this recognition of Palestinian statehood, agreeing with the argument that it appears to reward Hamas if it comes before the hostages are released. Still 48 Israelis in captivity, and yet we're making this move that seems to be a concession, and people rightly asking themselves, well, why is he doing this? He's doing this to placate the left wing of his party that he fears might defect or indeed change allegiance and go to Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana, although, let's be honest, they've got their problems right now because they can't seem to decide whose party your party is. But I think this is a concession once again to the left that may land Starmer in trouble because it's not popular with the country. I'm going to be discussing all of this with Peter Swallow, who's the Labour MP for Bracknell. He's an interesting MP to speak to because, like very many Labour MPs, he's on a tiny majority of less than 800. So he's having to balance keeping the party line, supporting what the Prime Minister's saying, even though I would imagine on the doorstep in Bracknell, which has been Tory for its whole life until Swallow came in and won this seat because the Reform vote split the vote on the right, won it last year. Well, what are the good people of Bracknell saying about this? I wouldn't imagine for 1 minute they're agreeing with Starmer. But there's also problems for the right today because I'm going to be speaking to the Shadow Chancellor, Mel Stride. I don't know if you guys saw this story. It's in the Mail on Sunday. One rebel Tory MP has set up a Kemi countdown clock.
Oh.
So this is counting down to November the 3rd when, as far as the leadership rules are concerned, she can be challenged. Can you believe that the Conservatives seriously think, or at least some Conservatives seriously think this is time that they should have another leadership challenge? Can you actually get your head around that?
There's no common sense, is there, with all of this? I mean, do they want to self-implode?
Well, I think they're already doing a good job, aren't they? I mean, it's like, you know, talk about lighting the touch paper. So I'll be discussing that with Mel Stride. I'm also going to be speaking to Sir Richard Dearlove. There's been loads of stories in the week. Have you seen them all about spying and MI6 trying to recruit people on the dark web and MI6 trying to recruit people on Instagram? I don't know about you, but I thought spy recruitment was meant to be a sort of secret sort of thing.
Yes. Oh, no, they advertise for people now, don't they? I think MI5 and MI6. It's very strange.
I just thought, because he's the former head of MI6, what does he think? And I'm also going to be asking him whether he thinks David Lammy, the new Deputy Prime Minister, should step in and stop that Chinese super embassy. Angela Rayner was all for it, but she's out now and Lammy's in. So could something change on that? And also, of course, discuss foreign affairs and everything else in between.
Lovely. Camilla, we'll look forward to seeing you at 9:30. Thank you.
I must say, politics never gets dull.
It doesn't.
That's it.
Nope.
Wow. Now, at 9:07, leaked emails have come to light showing the close relationship between Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, and the convicted paedophile and now dead Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, it's been revealed the Duchess of York described the financier as steadfast, generous and a supreme friend, but this was after she'd publicly claimed to cut ties with him, according to reports in the papers this morning.
Earlier on, we spoke to somebody who might know about this former royal butler, Grant Harold.
It's not great, and it's also embarrassing for herself and for the royal family.
Yes, because we saw her, I mean, gradually she seems to have worked her way back into the fold. At Christmases, she's never actually been invited to Balmoral, even though her daughters have. But now we saw her at the recent funeral, and it was as though she is being welcomed back. This, though, is going to be horrendously embarrassing for people who feel strongly about this whole Epstein business. Obviously, the King, and particularly Prince William.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, the interesting thing is, Anne, she's been kind of part of the royal family for quite a while now. I mean, rejoining the royal family for quite a while now, even though, obviously, Prince Andrew and herself are divorced. We all know they've been friends for many, many years. And the friendship's obviously continued. She's obviously around, as you said, more and more publicly. We're getting to see her. And it's interesting to kind of see how she has kind of come back into the fold. But as I said, getting these kind of headlines and being associated, or soon as an association that she had with him, even though she said she severed the ties, is definitely embarrassing. And it will, without question, raise, people will be wanting to kind of know why she did it, why she was doing these emails. And as you mentioned, maybe it was borrowing the money. Maybe I read that she may have felt that she had to because she was worried. But I would have thought this is kind of digging out a hole, really.
Let's just tell you what a spokesman for the Duchess has said. They said the Duchess spoke of her regret about her association with Epstein many years ago, and as they have always been, her first thoughts are with his victims. Like many people, she was taken in by his lies. As soon as she was aware of the extent of the allegations against him, she not only cut off contact, but condemned him publicly to the extent that he then threatened to sue her for defamation for associating him with paedophilia. She does not resile from anything she said then. This email was sent in the context of advice the Duchess was given to try to assuage Epstein and his threats. So that's a response.
So, I mean, the timeline seems to be that she borrowed £15,000 off him and then obviously considered him a friend. Once he was convicted, she then was advised, and it is sort of assumed that it might even be just by her publishers, because, of course, she was writing children's books at the time. So she had that reputation as a children's author to protect. So she publicly cut him off, and she publicly said she said, "I abhor paedophilia and any sexual abuse of children, and I know that this was a gigantic error of judgment on my behalf." So there's no doubt that she publicly disowned him, as it were. But then only weeks later wrote him this gushing letter saying, "I didn't mean it, I only did it because I had to." How do you explain it? How's she going to explain it to anyone?
It's really difficult. I mean, I do believe that, you know, those comments about, you know, cutting him out of her life and everything, I totally believe that. I mean, she is a, I don't know if you've ever met her, but she's a very kind, genuine person. She really is. She's also somebody that, you know, never wants to kind of upset people. Now, if she's borrowed money and maybe she did have this fear or worry that maybe he might cause her a problem, which is potentially why she did the email, but it was just really bad advice, you know, given... This is what's so weird, you know, we've seen different members of our family over the years seem to be given extraordinary advice, and they do things that just don't kind of make sense. And this is maybe more the question is who's given, as you said, even if it's the publicist, who's given the advice and why are they giving them such bad advice? Because, you know, they really shouldn't be getting involved in these kind of things or doing these kind of things, because this is why we're talking about it, and it's just going to cause, as I said, more problems. And if anything, today there'll be questions getting raised about it and questioning, you know, is it safe for her? Is it a good idea for her to be seen with members of our family if these are the emails that are getting put out and about?
Fascinating, but not very happy reading in today's. That's all over the front page of the Mail and the Sun today.
It is. Right, shall we tell you about the Great British Giveaway? It's our biggest prize ever, more than £104,000 it's worth. Here's how you enter.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people, comes with integrated bathroom and kitchen areas, has plenty of storage and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like, taking the total prize value of this Great British Giveaway over a whopping £104,000. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Blinds close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck indeed. Do stay with us, because still to come... it's tango time, or whatever the dance is that they're doing, because it was the latest series of Strictly Come Dancing, started last night. You can tell Christmas is on the way, can't you? More on that in just a tick.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts tomorrow at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live starts tomorrow at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
18 minutes past 9.
I was going to say, here's a treat for us.
Oh, a treat, yes.
Because Stephanie's here.
It's always a treat for us.
Trick or treat.
Always a treat.
Always a treat. But, I mean, I was saying earlier, you can tell Christmas is on its way.
Yeah.
When Strictly starts.
Strictly. As soon as Strictly comes, then, you know, it's the countdown to the end of the year.
Yeah.
For the next 3 months, it's all about Strictly on a Saturday evening. I'm not going to beat around the bush. We know that this series has been plagued with scandal.
Already?
Already. So they're back with the sequins to spray tans and, of course, the scandal with Strictly. There is 15 new contestants and, you know, obviously people are going to be digging into people's personal lives. There's one contestant called Thomas Skinner who was on The Apprentice and he seems to be causing a bit of a furore in the media at the moment. He confessed to having an affair before he got married. So already he's just like one of those unlikable characters on the show. But
it seems really I mean, clearly he made this confession.
Yeah.
Right. But, I mean, clearly that's because someone's been digging and pushing rushing at him. And he has said, hasn't he, that he really feels like the knives are out for him.
Well, clearly, and I think that's the problem when you do go on Strictly. It's never going to be just clean cut and just stuck to the dance floor. People are going to keep on digging to see what they can get.
Yeah, so they've cast him as the demon, haven't they?
He has been. He is a demon.
He's the bad guy.
It didn't help that he did have a picture with J.D. Vance a few weeks ago, so can you imagine there's been this kind of political divide, and he's like, I'm not even right-wing, I've just taken a picture with J.D. Vance, and even if he was... Why should it
matter? Yeah.
So the politics really should stay out of the dance floor.
Yeah, but it won't. Nothing will stay off.
But isn't it interesting now that... whereas, I mean, you'd be clambering before to get on the show as a career boost. Yeah. Now it seems it's almost the other way round. We've just had that from last year, the guy from EastEnders who's just been fired, and the Go Compare fella.
Well, that's the thing is, because you can't enjoy Strictly anymore, because, you know, even if you're behind the scenes, like what happens with Jamie Bortwick, and you say something which is deemed offensive, your career could be over. So it's worth, you know, the paycheck, but long-term for your career, I don't know about
you take a risk
anymore.
Nowadays, don't you?
And it seems like the show is just getting more and more popular through its controversy rather than the dancing, which
is a shame, because I know so many people, including the Queen, are very, very keen because they'd love to see the dancing.
It's a good show, I think. You know, for most members of the public, if you can't dance, to watch people who are novices to it, it's kind of inspirational. But now it's.
Is there anyone who would you say let's watch over the next few months?
I would say Vicky Patterson. She's the favourite because she's well known, Georgie Saw character, but she's now like a presenter and podcaster. So I think she would do really well. We also have an Emmerdale star called Lewis Copes. He's got a big fan base out there, so I think he will do well. We know with Strictly they're all about the first blind person to win, first deaf person to win. Now they've got the first Down syndrome contestant, Ellie Goldstein, and she's been paired up with Vito Coppola, and I think he's an amazing dance instructor, so I think she might do well as well. So
I mean, I tell you what I think about. I mean, there is box ticking with it.
There is.
Right.
I'm not even gonna...
However, I think for anyone who does have Downs or any other sort of condition like that, to see someone on a main show and performing and doing well, it's got to be inspirational.
Yeah, you can't.
And not being patronised. I mean, that's something they do well. You're judged on your merits on the dance
You're
floor.
judged fairly. Like, Craig is still horrible to you, regardless of who you are, what you've got. And I think that's what you can't knock Strictly for. I think it has become an inclusive show. And, you know, whether you love or hate it, it's still good to see people like that having their chance to do their thing on the dance floor.
Is there anyone whose name I would know?
Alex Kingston.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you see? And then there's another guy from Neighbours, Stephen Dennis.
Stephen Dennis. Now,
he's before my time, but...
Yeah, well, I remember Stephen Dennis when he had a single out.
Oh.
Don't it make you feel good? Back in the 80s or 90s, I remember
from
that.
Neighbours became a singing star
of
sorts, didn't they? Anyway, so it's going to be worth watching all the way through to Christmas.
It will keep you snuggly during the autumn nights.
Lovely stuff. Steph, thank you very much indeed, darling.
Thank you very much. Have a snuggly day, please. Next, it's the Camilla Tominey Show.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Today is going to be quite a bit colder than it was yesterday, but also brighter. There'll be some sunny spells, but also some heavy blustery showers in places, particularly focused across northern parts of Scotland, where they'll be quite frequent at times through the course of today. Some hail, some thunder mixed in there as well. Some showers also pushing down in across Northern Ireland, running down the Irish Sea into West Wales and South West England, and also affecting some North Sea coastal regions too. But many inland areas, particularly in the south, turning dry, and there will be a good deal of sunshine. So despite temperatures down on recent days, it might not feel too bad if you are in any shelter from that breeze, but overall quite a bit cooler with temperatures widely below average for the time of year. And where you're exposed to that strong northerly breeze across northern Scotland in particular, well, here it won't feel much more than about 3 or 4 degrees above freezing. So quite a cold feeling day to come here, and showers continuing through this evening and overnight. A few showers also for Northern Ireland and Northern England, but many inland areas turning dry to end the day, so there will be some sunny spells and actually a fine evening to come, so plenty of late sunshine across central and southern parts of England to end the weekend, and those clear skies persisting as we go through this evening and overnight, so temperatures really taking quite a nosedive, and we will have a cold night on the way to come. Some showers will continue in coastal regions, mainly in northeastern parts of Scotland, but also some drifting down across eastern parts of East Anglia as well. So temperatures widely falling into single figures tonight, and in some rural areas we're likely to see a grass frost and potentially temperatures falling down to freezing in the most prone spots. It does mean, though, underneath those clear skies, that it should be a much brighter start to the day on Monday. Plenty of sunshine and blue skies through most of the day for a good chunk of the UK. Just 1 or 2 showers, mainly for Kent and Sussex. A few showers and more cloud coming into parts of Scotland as well. But otherwise, plenty of sunshine for many.